Hey guys, so quick explanation here before we jump into the regular part of the episode. So we had a technical issue this week where we lost the second half of our podcast, and so it was very unfortunate. And so what we decided to do is we'll just publish our first half that we have now, and then we will later this week publish, re-record and publish the second half talking about the Reddit AMA with the designers, as well as Reddit posts and Twitter questions. So fortunately it was a really long episode, so we actually will have two kind of regular length episodes this week, so it's kind of a bonus for you guys. It sucks for us though. So just to keep you guys in the loop, that's what we're going to be doing this week. Look forward to another episode coming later on throughout the week. Hey guys, welcome to episode 8 of Unrenowned, where we talk about Siege, things we like about Siege.
Things we don't like about Siege.
I don't like Chris.
Okay, he doesn't like me because every time we try to start the podcast, we do funny noises.
This is
it
true.
takes us like 10 minutes to start.
This is true.
We don't have any time.
Okay, yes, let's, no time. But she did. No time!
What?
We have a good show for you today. Little quick off reference there. Taylor got it. Guys, there's a lot to talk about this week. So number one, Halloween event, Madhouse. Designers' notes on balance for the season. A Reddit AMA with the balance team. And then, of course, Reddit posts and listener questions. Also, we mentioned last episode that we were going to have a big announcement this week. Chris, you want to give the announcement?
I actually don't. Oh, I do know what it is. I forgot.
We talked about this like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah. So we are going to start a Discord server for the Unrenowned podcast. It's going
Discord!
It's going to include things like just game chats, just a normal chat about random stuff they like to chat about.
Basically just a place for the Unrenowned community to come together, play together. We'll have a channel for podcast questions, so it'll be an easier place to kind of submit that stuff. So yeah, we'll put out the link in the show notes. We'll tweet it out too. We'll try to share it everywhere we can, but join there. And I think it'll be a fun place where, you know, we'll be in there and we can play together, and hopefully you guys can carry us out of freaking copper. Are we copper right now?
I think I'm bronze. I don't know.
No, bronze. Sorry. I mix up copper and bronze a lot. I'm not copper.
Disclaimer, we're not bad. We're not this bad.
Well, we're kind of bad.
No, but I don't feel like I'm that bad. I should be in like a high gold, I feel like, honestly. Like at least gold.
I agree that I think we have the skill to place in high gold if we had the proper team consistently. Yes. Please carry us there.
Where we are right now, we're always finishing at the top of the team, whether or not we win or lose.
It's true, and it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. But this is not to complain about how we're improperly ranked. Actually, I was thinking the other day, it'd be really interesting to put a post on the subreddit with a poll of like, do you think you're properly ranked too high, or ranked too low?
I think that's one of the questions that was in the quarterly poll. Like, do you think,
really?
Yeah, do you think your rank reflected your actual skill level for the season? And I think it was like 50-50.
Oh, really?
I remember I believe so.
I would think there would be a lot more people saying that they were ranked low.
Way better, yeah.
What's also frustrating is that with our particular squad, we tend to rank the worst players higher than you and me, who are the good players carrying the squad. It's like, okay, so here's what happens. We, Chris and I play and get ranked at like a reasonable, like high silver, low gold, you know, and that's just the two of us together playing with randos. And then we, like, our squad of just friends, these aren't like Rainbow Six Siege people that we like play with. These are like our real life friends. Yeah. And so we play with them. They're not as good as we are. They're playing against higher ranked players because we're ranked. And so when they lose, it doesn't affect them as much. And then when we win, it's like really good for them. So then they end up getting ranked like low gold. And while meantime, we've downranked down to like high bronze. So now it looks like the worst player on our team is the best player on our team. And it's very annoying.
This is true.
We're also safe to talk about this here because we know none of them listen to this. Well, one of them does. He's actually the better one that carries us sometimes.
It comes down to listening and to playing. Yeah, that's the thing with Siege. You don't have to be good in the FPS like that helps to be good at gunfights.
Traditional FPS skills aren't necessarily directly correlated with how good you are at winning siege games.
Yeah, just being smart in how you play, making right moves, understanding the game is the biggest thing.
Right. Also, tell me if you guys have seen this this like trajectory where somebody starts to play Siege. Obviously, at the very beginning, they're like total garbage, but then like by like I'll say like level 15 to 30, they start like figuring it out a little bit, and then all of a sudden they get like really good. Like they start like making good plays, and like they understand like how the objectives work, and they've kind of figured out a couple of maps. They've picked an operator or two that they really like, and they're consistently like okay with, and they start doing quite well, and like 1.0 or better KD, and like they're either not hurting the team or actually directly helping the team, even though they're like very low not rank but level, low experience. And then they hit like a wall, and it's like around like not even a wall, but like a downhill like
It's Siege is weird. It's like a weird learning curve. It's like you start good because you're not scared of anything, and then you're super scared of everything, and so you don't do anything, and then you just start getting better from there.
Right. It's somewhere around like
it's
level,
like this weird valley
level
kind
like
of thing.
40 to like 60, where like
maybe even higher, like 40 to 80.
Maybe, and it's like you hit like where you understand more, and so you realize how scared you should be of everything, and then you become overly cautious. And then you just become garbage because it's like you don't even get into the building until 30 seconds left because you're so like careful. And it's like, okay, like like Siege, being good at Siege, in my like, if I were to describe it in like a single succinct sentence, it is applying measured aggression, right? Like be aggressive, but be careful. Like you have to have that perfect balance, but you have to be more aggressive than careful, I think.
It depends on your role too. Like, as a doc, you have to be more careful because if you die as doc, like you just screwed
right.
your team.
You've ruined your utility.
What's doc for?
Right.
But as like a Jaeger, like why are you being careful?
Right. You've got your ADSs down. Yep. You don't want to go die, but
no. But if you can trade a 2-for-1 and do something that's kind of stupid, but get 2 of them, do it.
Or even just waste 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Right. In ranked, like 45 seconds is a large amount of time.
Yeah,
or just keep them from
almost
being
a third of the match.
You just don't want people. You want to keep them from feeling safe entering the building, right? Anyway, we're getting off on tangents here. Let
me just real fast that ranked affecting your skill. I found the responses to this 10,000 responses. So 36.4% of people said your rank reflects their actual skill. 33.3% said their rank is lower than it should be. 20.1% said they have not completed their placement matches, and 10.1% said their rank is higher than it should be.
That's actually not too bad.
Yeah, it's not. It's pretty impressive.
And it's probably actually fair because if a lot of people are playing with randos, solos, then there's a good chance that they actually truly are ranked lower than they probably are skill-wise.
Correct.
Or at least that they could like reasonably feel that way. So, interesting. Okay, let's get into the Halloween event, Madhouse. This is freaking amazing. Woo! I love this. Okay, so like...
there's some things that I love and there's some things that I don't love. But let's start with the love.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's start with what it is. So if you haven't heard or haven't been playing, so there's a Madhouse event, which is basically it's 24/7 house. It's like in the Discovery playlist, like when a new map comes out. So you can choose to play this thing. It's just house back to back to back to back. And it's like decorated.
That's what I love.
Yeah. That's the best part. It's decorated for Halloween, so it's like it's foggy. There's like jack-o'-lanterns everywhere. There's like gargoyles,
random screams and stuff.
Yeah, like little Easter eggs, ghouls, and sound effects, like screams, moans, phones ringing, like just kind of weird, creepy stuff. And anything else particular about the spookiness of it?
Spookiness, like maybe not, but there's like a bunch of jack-o'-lanterns all over the place that you can like shoot or run a drone into and it explodes.
Yeah, that's kind of fun.
It's great.
It like other than that, like the map is not changed at all. The map is it plays exactly the same as it normally does. And then what's also interesting is that there's only 5 operators on each side. So attacking, it's Ash, Thermite, Hibana, Buck, and Finka.
Yeah, there you
go. And we'll get into this in a second. And then defending is Jaeger,
Valkyrie,
Valkyrie, Mira,
Vigil, Pulse.
There you go. So that's interesting. Okay, so what I don't like about this one is if you don't have all these operators, you can't play them. So like if somebody is just starting the game and all they have is the original operators, like they get 2 on each side that they can pick, and if they're not quick enough, then they just have to play recruit, which kind of sucks. Like I feel like let's just let everybody play them for the week, right? It's only a week-long event. Just let everybody play Finca.
And I do understand they want people to like buy these operators. Like Vigil and Finca are probably one of the less purchased ones just because they're newer.
They're newer, and like Vigil's not very exciting.
No. And I mean, neither is Finca's kind of cool, but she's not like as exciting as someone with a cool gadget.
Right. Like if you would have only bought one operator that season, it would have been Lion.
Yeah. Definitely.
And then like Maestro and Alibi came after, and they're like way more exciting, I think, than Finca.
For sure.
So yeah, like I don't like that. Like it's a single week. Like just let the people play the freaking operators. Like it's not going to affect whether or not they buy them in the future. In fact, it may even encourage them to buy somebody because they'll play somebody they like and want to buy them. Right.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Other things. So there's like specialized alpha pack stuff, skins and headgear and that kind of stuff,
which are very cool.
Yeah,
scary.
A lot of them are really good. Vigil's got like a burlap sack over his head with like the mouth and the eyes at shin. Like that's really good.
Valkyrie's like a zombie face, and it's scary. There was a match I was playing where like I was in kid's bedroom and I was like peeking towards Master out of the kid's bedroom door, and Valkyrie had died in a way where like she was like knelt on the ground but like leaned up against that cabinet that's on like the southern wall of like the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And like so I peeked and I just see her just like there with her zombie face, and I just like shot her in the head. I was like, oh freak. It was scary. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Thermite's got like his face is kind of just like all like carved up, like melting almost, and then he's got like on his little thermite goggles, he's got like the big googly eyes. It's just like really creepy looking.
It's impressive. They did a good job.
Yeah, it's good. So you can unlock, I think you get 1 for free when you first play it, and then you can unlock 2 more by getting 30 kills and 60 kills in the playlist.
So I think it's actually just overall, just in general. I don't think it has to be in the playlist.
I'm pretty sure it does.
I read something recently that it didn't have to be.
Huh.
But that could have been that whole just like multiplayer kills in general, the club challenge.
Yeah,
I'm not sure exactly. But I feel like someone did say like, by the way, these kills don't have to be in the playlist.
Yeah, I think you're probably talking about the other one. So there's a community challenge to get 40 million kills, I think.
Yes.
Over the course of the week that this event goes. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that one's game wide, but I think the individual 30-60 kills is specifically on Spooky House.
Just Spooky House.
What else to say about this? Okay, so I guess what we like and don't like.
Yeah.
Number 1, I love that it's just house. 24/7 house playlist is fantastic.
Yeah, awesome. I would love if they would do this. Just like it doesn't have to be there all the time, because I understand. Well, okay, this used to be a problem before in Siege where they didn't want to split the player base because the player base was smaller.
Right.
That they wanted people to be able to find matches, etc. Now you have a point where your player base is pretty significantly large.
Right.
Where like even if you had multiple game modes, it's not going to be a problem. So like I understand maybe not 24/7 having something there that you can play all the time, but if they just had like one map a week, or like maybe just weekends where you had just like one map that you could just play 24/7.
Yeah.
That'd be so great.
I mean, that'd be awesome. Just like, even if it's like a different map every day.
Yeah.
Like, or every couple days. Like, it'd just be cool to
that'd
have.
That'd be a great way to learn a map.
Yeah, the Discovery playlist, and you could either do it in ranked. Well, maybe not ranked, because then it's like.
Yeah, I'd have it as a casual.
Inflating your rank with a map.
I would have it as a casual that's like ranked, where you have a 3-minute timer, you can vote.
It's almost like casual should be like ranked.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Have we talked about this?
Should we get into that ever? Should we ever talk about how casual should be more like ranked?
No.
Let's keep our opinions on that to ourselves. But no, I mean that'd be great to like just be able to say like, you know what, I want to play Villa. Like, I mean, we did this with Villa because Villa was one of the new maps where they did Discovery, but it's like, I don't understand Villa. I want to play it more. Let me just play Villa 24/7 for a week, and like I'll learn Villa. Like,
yeah.
It's great. Plus, I mean, just the fact that it's 24/7 house, which is like, we don't get to play that much because it's not in ranked. Like, and I freaking love house. It's great.
House is so fun. I like the 5 operators on each side. It helps. Like, okay,
it's an interesting dynamic for sure.
So it's interesting because like you already know who's on the other team every single time. So that kind of defeats like the like mystery. Like, do they have a thermite? Do they not? I kind of wish they didn't have thermite and Hibana, just so that like you would have that one hard breach. Like, okay, we killed the hard breach,
right?
But they like no matter what, there's no way to stop them coming in the garage door,
right?
You don't have bandit, you don't have mute, so,
right?
Like, and they don't have anyone to kill that anyway. So that kind of cancels out. But every time they're getting through the garage door,
right?
Even if you kill thermite, like they still have Hibana.
Yeah, like it's a weird selection of operators. And, like part of it is driven by half of them are the ones that had Halloween skins last year, so they're just kind of recycling those this time. And then they only had to develop 5 new skins for this one, so it's like they're kind of like pigeonholed a little bit into which operators they could use. But like I like the idea. I think it's really cool to just have like a solid team. It's almost like with the pick and ban where you know ahead of time who it's going to be, and so like that like kind of adds a new layer of strategy to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a weird group.
It is. I think they could have picked definitely some better operators. What's cool though is they didn't pick anybody with traps on house.
Yeah,
which
that's
is
interesting.
Really, really nice. Like there's a few times I'm like, oh freak, Capcan. I'm like, oh, they don't have like I can just go in the window and I'm good.
Yep. Also, no trackers.
Yeah.
No Dokkaebi, no Jackal, no Lion, and oh my gosh, has it been amazing to just like be able to roam again, especially on a house that's so small.
Yeah,
it's like
that's what I like is it's so small that having those trap and other operators that just trap and track is very annoying.
Yeah,
like it makes house almost unplayable.
Right. I mean, it's just amazing to be able to be that Jaeger, and like we've talked about this when we did our map rankings. We talked about how we love house because you can play the whole map throughout the course of a single round, and like I've had several rounds like this where I'm roaming as Jaeger, and it's like I'm moving from the top all the way to the bottom floor, from the east to the west, north to the south. Like I'm literally running around the whole map playing it, depending on where they are, and like flanking, and you know, just continually like hitting them from different sides and just being annoying, and like it's so fun. It's so fun, and you can't do that on any other siege map, really.
Very true.
So what I don't like about it is that there's this fog.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I hate.
And you can't see anything. It's so annoying.
Like on both sides. Like if you're out in the garage, you can't see in the laundry room at all. It's just too dark.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Like if you're in, which I guess is nice for house because it's so small.
Yeah, like, well, the problem is that it's even worse for the defenders because you can't really spawn peek. Like it's hard to do, like, you know, when they're attacking the garage and you like melee out a window so you can kind of shoot at them from above.
Yeah, you can't see where
like
they
you
are.
Can't see them very well, and like attackers already have the advantage on house being that it's so small. It's easy to cover all the angles. Time isn't really a factor. Oh, but the time, it's a 3:30 time, which is interesting. It makes me think like are they leaning toward trying this in casual, a 3:30 timer?
Which I hope they see it and like, oh, it's still too long. And they make it 3 minutes.
Although I think 3:30 is good.
That's at least something.
Yeah, for casual, like I'm okay with
that.
Sure.
Yeah, 4 minutes is just too long. And well, the thing is too, we're playing house, and so like house having that 3:30 timer is still kind of long because it's house,
right?
But like 4 minutes was like ridiculous. I feel like there has been times though playing this that I've been like, okay, we only have a minute left. Whereas like before that never happened. I was like, oh, we still have like 2 minutes left of this.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, overall, I think it's a pretty good event. I know a lot of people like are not that thrilled with it, like because it's like because of the fog and it's on house, and it's like, guys, this is not to have a super competitive ultra thing. Like this is just to have a good time playing a good map with silly skins. Also, like I don't think we mentioned this. Everybody in the game is wearing their Halloween skins. So whether you own it or not, everybody is dressed up in the spooky outfits.
Yeah, very cool. There was something else that I think the only thing I didn't like was just the other thing was that Thermite and Hibana are both on attacking. I think they could have chosen another. I don't know who. Maybe Sledge. I guess you already have Buck, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah, the fog though.
I think it would have been good to trade like trade Hibana maybe for like Thatcher, and then trade somebody on defense for Bandit.
Yeah, there you go.
You know. Maybe Jaeger.
There
maybe.
You go.
Although I really like Jaeger's skull skin.
Yeah,
his pilot skull.
I wonder if they were just like. I'm wondering too now that I'm thinking about it if like they were making those Halloween costumes for like everybody, at first, and those are just the ones they started with. They kind of ran out of time. Like, well, we have these ones. Let's just throw them in that.
I don't think so.
Because
I mean, they did 5 last time.
Yeah.
I think they took the 5 from last time and made 5 this time.
Okay.
So.
Anyway. It's cool, though.
It is cool.
It's pretty cool, aside from the fog stuff. Moving on to designer notes that have come in recently for the mid-season awesomeness. So every season, just so you guys know, like about halfway through the season, there's usually designer notes where they just basically, the designers say like they're balancing things, what they're looking at, what they like to see, what they want coming up soon.
Yeah, so I mean, just at like a general level, it's really cool that they are engaging the community in this way, of just like giving us insight into what they're looking at, and just like involving us, even if we're not involved in the decisions, just involving us in the decision process, I think is cool.
Yeah.
So what they do is they have on their like Siege blog on the Rainbow Six website, they have basically these charts that show where everybody places based on win rate and pick rate. And so pick rate is basically 0 to 100%, like how many matches they're picked. And then the win rate is, they have it explained here. The win delta is the average win ratio when an operator is picked minus the average win ratio when an operator is not picked. So basically the difference between how often the operator wins, or how often the team wins with that operator, and how often the team loses or wins without that operator.
Mm-hmm.
So those are measured more or less in 0 to 3% plus or negative. I mean, obviously it could go higher or lower, but it seems like that's kind of where it falls. So let's start with attackers. Just what's the first thing that stands out to you on this chart of attacker win pick rates?
So Ashe is all the way there on the very right, but so she's picked all the time.
Yeah, 70% pick rate almost.
Yeah, and I see her all the time. Like, I feel like that's accurate, not just... So these are in platinum and diamond only.
Right.
But I feel like this for Ashe is at least accurate 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
She's almost always there.
Yep.
And her win rate isn't like it's amazing either, which is interesting. Like, she's picked all the time. I feel like part of it is her guns. The other part of it is just her hitbox in her head.
Yeah, well, she's picked because she's a good fragger, right? Yeah. And so, like, her gadget isn't necessarily going to win or lose you a round. Also, I think, like, I don't know if it's necessarily true, but it seems like the more you're picked, the more you're going to fall into just, like, average win or lose, because if you're just there in every round, I mean, eventually that's going to even out to 50-50, right?
Correct.
Who else is... So, Blackbeard is way up there at plus 2% win rate, although his pick rate is less than average at 20%. So
can you explain? I don't think I understand completely how this works, the win rate. So is it he wins 2% more than...
So they take the ratio of the team's wins when the operator is picked, and subtract the ratio of the team's wins when the operator is not picked. So if you won equally with Blackbeard and without Blackbeard, the same number, X minus X, is going to equal 0.
Okay.
Right? But if you win more with Blackbeard than you do without Blackbeard, let's say you win 53% of the time with Blackbeard, or let's say 51.5% of the time with Blackbeard, and 49 or 48.5% of the time without Blackbeard, then the difference there is 3. I tried to make it 3. I can't do this math on the podcast. But basically, it's the percentage point difference.
So the 2% is not even really that high, I feel like.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, is like that it could theoretically be higher, but basically the point is none of these operators affect it so strongly to make a difference more or less than, or more than 3% plus or minus.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I'm sorry, I'm probably not explaining it very well. But the point, I mean...
So even if someone was like on the top of like win delta, like 3% on the very top, that's not even... I feel like that's not even that much difference.
Well, yeah, you're right. It's not. And so it's not necessarily saying that, like, pick this operator to win. what matters here is the relativity between where Blackbeard is versus where Jackal is.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what matters is that there's a big difference between them relative. So anyway, so like it's broken into 2 boxes if you actually, or 4 boxes if you actually look at the chart. So like top left is underpicked but too strong. Top right is overpicked and too strong. Bottom left, underpicked and too weak. And bottom right, overpicked and too weak. So you kind of have to look at these charts to really get it, but we're trying to just kind of pull out the interesting stuff. So Blackbeard and Glaz are both high on the win rate and low on the pick rate, which is interesting because I feel like I see a lot of Blackbeard and, well, not Blackbeard, but I see a lot of Glaz. Don't you?
I do, but
I mean, it's hard because we're in bronze. Ugh.
Yeah, but even in like gold, like when we were first placed, I feel like I do see a lot of Glaz. Not a ton. But I feel like I see him more often than what we're seeing on this chart than 15, like 12% of the time.
Yeah. Anyway, on the attackers, there's not that much that's interesting. One thing I do want to point out is Maverick comes in. He's a little bit overpicked at 40%. So he falls in with Thermite, Zofia, and Hibana on the pick rate. But then he is actually below average on win rate. Not a lot. He's kind of like right there in the sweet spot of like he's probably not going to get too many changes. Yeah. But it's just interesting, everybody complaining about how OP Maverick is, and he's kind of right there in the sweet spot.
Yeah, he's in a really good location. You know what's funny? I have been paying attention to you, actually, and I cannot find Maverick on this freaking screen. There he is.
40%, yeah. Yeah. What's really interesting is that Thermite, Hibana, and Maverick, all the hard breachers are lined up on pick rate.
That is interesting, actually. I wonder if that's just because like they pick one of them every time.
I mean, like, yeah. The thing is, like, you're always going to have a hard breacher, especially if you're playing Diamond and Platinum. People aren't stupid enough to go without a hard breacher. But it's interesting that all 3 of them are picked around the same rate, and all 3 of them at significantly higher rates than most other operators.
Yeah, I like that too. I like that. It shows all 3 hard breachers are relevant, and there's not one of them that's like significantly better than the other 2.
Also, I'm sad about Capital. He is probably in the worst spot, underpicked and too weak in kind of the bottom left corner.
Yep.
Poor Capital. But that also probably means he's going to get something done with him soon. So,
what's interesting to me is Jackal is so low on the win rate, which I feel like, at least in our level, he is so annoying.
The thing is,
I don't know if he gets me killed and he wins, but he's just annoying.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't think he actually contributes to a win as often as you just feel like he's ruining your specific round. So that's interesting. I wish I had the old data here. I'm gonna see if I can find that while we talk about the next one. But like Thatcher I think he's fallen quite a bit in pick rate. But let's come back to it. I'll see if I can find that when we talk about the next one.
Okay.
Defenders is a much more interesting graph this time around.
Yes, and what's very interesting about this between defenders and attackers is attackers, as far as win rate goes, they're pretty like more squished together, and that kind of goes across. Ashe is really the only one that's super picked.
Just a lot less variance.
Yeah. Defenders, there are multiple operators in the bottom left corner, like literally bottom left corner.
Yeah, like touching the bottom.
And then there's some that are like touching the top.
Yep.
So that bottom left corner, let's start with just the top. So Rook is at the very top.
I wonder if part of that is that a defending is just so much more predictable.
Yeah.
Like you get to choose where you are and everything.
Correct.
And so you can set up exactly what you need for that spot. And so because of that, you're going to see more min-maxing of where they fall on this, I feel like.
Yeah.
So,
I was going to say too, yeah, I feel like it's harder to balance defenders as well. Like, because they can't go outside, so it's just harder to be like, how good should their traps be? How good should they be alone? Like, I feel like that's just more difficult to balance defenders, but
yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Anyway, so Rook is at the very tippy top. He's not really underpicked. He's picked, I guess, 21% of the time, maybe.
So kind of the average pick rate is what, like 27, 28%?
Yeah. He's at the very tippy top of win delta.
Yeah, like Rook always wins, basically.
Yeah. Which is very impressive,
which makes sense because his gadget buffs the whole team every time without question, as long as people pick it up, which, you know, in Platinum Diamond, people probably aren't leaving their armor as often.
Yeah. Another thing that I find interesting. Okay, one thing I found very interesting is all these people are complaining about Clash and how OP she is.
Yes, this is the most interesting thing on
here. And
here.
there she is at the very bottom left, picked like 11% of the time, maybe 12% of the time, minus 2.5% win delta.
Right. For a frame of reference, she is slightly picked more and slightly wins more than Castle.
Mm-hmm.
My boy Castle.
She wins less than Tachanka.
Yes.
Picked more, but wins less than Tachanka.
Yes.
And this is in Platinum and Diamond, which most players are, and the Gold is the peak, right? Ranked.
Right.
And so most players are under this level, so Clash can be significant. Which is, I want to see a chart, because I mean, they say they don't just balance just off Platinum, Diamond, and Pro,
right.
which I believe them. And they do smart things where they aren't just making it better for Pro League, but they're trying to balance it all the way through or whatever. But I do want to see a chart of like what it looks like in Gold. Like where most of the players are, I want to see that chart. Because we want to see is Clash like, because what people are saying basically is Clash is picked all the time and she's way too strong.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to see if in Gold, is she really like that much better? She's picked at like 60% more of the time and wins that much more.
Yeah. I wonder if in Gold, if the variance would just be like so great that it wouldn't even be useful. Gold and below, like just because I don't know. I just feel like there's bigger swings.
Yeah, I'd just be curious to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
But yeah, Clash is down there. She is down.
Yeah, she is actually not okay. And there's a nerf coming. Like they are reducing or increasing the amount of time it takes to switch between her shield and her weapon.
Correct.
Adjusting the cooldown. Of her things, and then reducing the amount of time that people are stunned.
Correct. So if we were to go back 1 week, you would hear us say these exact things, like literally word for word, and then like 3 days later, they come out and say this. And we're like,
the podcast power.
Literally, like I was listening, so I was reading this while I was editing the podcast for the YouTube video, and like I had just heard myself say these things, and us talking about them, and like how this would be good, and then there they are, saying the exact same thing, and exact words, like we were like, Clash should not be alone. Clash should, if you're alone as Clash, you screwed yourself. And then here they come and say, Clash should not be alone. Yeah. Clash should have a gun. She's not supposed to be able to hold the map on her own. Like, yes,
yeah,
exactly.
So what they're saying is that the balance adjustments. Well, we'll actually get to this because it's in the blog too. But the balance adjustments they're making for Clash are not necessarily to nerf her, but they're to make her more dependent on her team and to play more in the role of a support,
which is exactly what it should be. And the thing I love to play, not to go tangent-y here again, the thing I love to do as Clash is to have someone like behind a doorway, like in kind of a weird spot, and have you like the main focus of attention. Like they're shooting at you, not even like they walk in, not even thinking like, oh, there's someone behind me right now in this weird corner. It's like, hey, shoot him now, shoot him now, shoot him now. Please shoot him now.
Yeah.
I am ready. You can shoot him.
Yeah.
Anyway. The other day, though, we were playing on Oregon, there was a clash, and you know where I'm going with this. There's a clash in that that front room, I forget what that room's called, where like the main hatch is to go into the basement, that everybody attacks all the time. And so I was Sledge, and I was like shooting at her, and Ryan is Blitz, and he had come through like the chat or the
assembly hall.
Yeah, assembly hall.
So we were on opposite sides of the clash.
And so he was coming, she was completely facing me. I was like, oh, good, like, you're behind her. So I just, like, I was outside the room. I was, like, behind the van in the front. So I just stepped behind the van for a second, and then I came back out. And I was just, like, sitting there looking at her, like, reloading my gun now, like, right in front of her. And Ryan comes around, like, right behind her, and he, like, starts shooting me. Like, what are you doing? Hey! And he totally downed me. And she pulls out a gun and kills me, and she's still alive.
Yes, this happened. This happened.
But I will say, on his screen, his third pistol shot was not on me at all. Like, it was on Clash, like, way to the left, and it still...
Okay, so let me defend myself a little bit. One, it was a very long range with a pistol and like, no sights, right? So, like...
Yeah.
It's hard to hit, and I wanted to get closer, but I couldn't because I'm having to cross that entire, like, lobby of Oregon, where it's, like, there's too many angles there for, like, a shield to try to run across and do that. And then it's, like... She was like lined up perfectly with you when I started shooting, and then she strafed like at just the wrong time. So I ended up hitting you. And okay, also dumb. I'm using Blitz's pistol. Does he have two or does he just have his? Just one.
I think just one.
So I was using his pistol, and I downed Chris in like 3 shots from like
The second shot
30
did
meters.
a lot of damage.
Yeah, it did like seriously like 70 damage.
Yeah.
And like you said, we watched back in slow motion. The third shot, I was not even close to on you, and
Yeah, no.
and it hit you and not Clash. Like Clash had strafed all the way off to the other side of the door, and I was shooting directly at her, and somehow I hit Chris. So
It made no sense. But I was like, what?
it was
the
dumb.
heck?
And then he got down, and then somehow like I wasn't able to kill Clash even while it was just very, very bad. Very bad.
It's pretty funny though.
But also, I shouldn't have been in that situation. I blame our stupid teammates for having
my gosh.
me by myself. Like,
Literally, so like Ryan's
I don't
there.
blame them for. Okay, wait. Let me clarify, because
Okay.
if AJ listens to this, he's going to be upset. I don't blame them for not following me because I'm the shield. I don't think that you have to follow the shield guy. But
Yeah.
the point is that me and Chris were in a heated battle, like their team wasn't spread out from that spot, and the rest of our team is like slowly making their way through the thing while we're there like in combat. Like, come on.
So fast forward another 35 seconds, and Ryan's still there, like holding off Clash and Mira, like two of them, and like the third one was like in the stairs. Like all three of the enemy team were there, and there was just two on our team. And Glaz is like super far over, like at those kids' bedroom stairs, like kind of peeking up. Then they're, mind you, their objective is in the basement.
Yeah, all
Like,
three of them
Glaz-
are on the shield guy by himself.
What are you doing? Like, I'm starting to like not yell at Glaz. I'm like, Glaz, there's no one up there. Like, he's pushing up the stairs like slowly. I'm like, Glaz, what are you doing? Like, there's no one there. Blitz is in battle. Go help him.
They're
And he
in the
like
basement,
still is, like
dude.
cautiously. He starts like moving towards him, but like checks that little like side bathroom, and then like kind of comes closer. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, Glaz, please.
With just the minimum amount of support, it would have been an easy win. But anyway, yeah. Sorry. Okay. Back to this defender graph. The other interesting things are, if my laptop will let me scroll. Okay, Castle again at the very, very bottom, just barely below Clash. Castle needs a freaking buff, please.
And it's coming. They're thinking. They said that they've been testing a lot of things and just trying to figure out what works best. I think that'd be a fun job to do. Just
oh
like,
my gosh,
let's
it'd
tweak
be
this
so
and see what
fun.
it's like.
Okay, also weird. Capkin and Frost both they're like low pick rate, like 10% on the last one, and literally on the bottom at like minus 3% win delta. This time they have both jumped up to above average win delta. Frost at almost 1.5% and Capkin at 2%. So it's like they didn't have any changes, right? Capkin and Frost recently, they haven't had anything.
No.
Sorry, I said last time. What I mean actually is, let me see the date on this. Year 3, season 2.
Yes, that's last season.
Yeah, this is last season.
When did Capkin's? I don't remember. When did his buff come where he increased in speed?
That's been like a year.
Okay. I just came back and that was there.
So it's just weird. Like, it must be because of something else. Like whether it's Maverick and Clash being introduced somehow buffed Capkin and Frost. It's just
the
weird.
meta. See, this is the thing that we were talking about. Meta just changes.
Exactly.
Like the attacking meta could have just changed where like you do something and then all of a sudden you start running in and you just forget about traps or whatever, or people start putting traps in different places.
Right.
Like that right there is proof they didn't change at all, and I don't think anything changed that really made them
Like
be
not
buffed
directly,
at all.
right?
Yeah. And so meta just changes in the game, and people just, I guarantee you, if we were to sit in this game like this for another year, these would fluctuate.
Oh, 100%.
A lot.
Like everybody
some
will move
might
around.
stay stronger. Like Rook's always going to be strong, and he's probably going to be around the same. Like some are going to stay the same, and Castle's probably always going to be down there.
Right.
But everything else is going to fluctuate.
It's going to change even if you keep it static. And the thing is, like we said, Frost and Capkin had no direct changes, but introducing 2 new characters and introducing a new map, that's going to affect the way that they're played and how often they win and how effective they are. And it's like an operator like Clash, like very what's the adjective? Very like staunchly or largely affects the dynamics of the game. You know, a new shield defender. And then a Maverick too, like a silent hard breacher, like that very, very largely affects the way that the game is played. And so by doing that, other operators are going to shift.
Right. And that's that Reddit post we talked about last week where the game changed completely with that. And I don't care if they didn't think about that or not. They probably did. It's cool to have
it's just
it changes
interesting.
the game.
Yeah, let the meta settle, guys. Let the meta settle. Last point I want to bring up on the defender chart, actually, real quick. My boy Maestro, love it. Perfectly even win pick rate and plus 1% win delta. So good job, my boy Maestro. And then scary for our friend Taylor. Legion is now at the top of the chart for defenders on overpicked and too strong. So he's always been a little bit high on the win rate, and he's always been fluctuating between kind of like evenly picked and a little bit overpicked, but there's always been somebody above him. There's been like Jaeger, Finka was, we're on defense. Jaeger, who else was problems on defense before? Ella. These other operators are always outshining him, but now somehow, like, what I've always called low-key OP Legion, like, he's OP, but you just couldn't tell because somebody else was always more OP.
Yeah.
And so now he's starting to show, and it's like, uh-oh, poor Taylor. Your Legion main is about to get nerfed. So,
I feel like it's, the part where he's the most crucial is just like the last 25 seconds when it comes down to that. It's like, oh, crap.
He's like a better smoke.
Yeah.
Like
exactly what he is.
And just the intel, especially at this higher level play.
Does he have impacts?
Yes.
Oh, I'm getting Legion next.
I'm pretty sure. I think he has barbed wire and impacts.
I love roaming, but roaming with impacts is so nice.
Oh my gosh.
Like, if you need to get back fast, you can do it with impact grenades. You just blow a hole through 2 walls and you're like, okay, I'm here.
I'm here, guys. So watch out for a Legion nerf coming in the next couple of seasons, I bet. Gosh, this is getting long already, but they also have some notes here about upcoming changes. So Clash we already talked about a little bit, and they have a big explanation of why they're doing this with Clash. Again, they're not necessarily trying to nerf her as much as they are trying to make her not a solo operator. I think this is actually going to have a detrimental effect to her because of where she is already.
Yeah.
I think at our level, it'll probably be good.
The biggest problem is her whole like pistol switching super fast, and like technically she doesn't have it out on your screen, but she does, and she's shooting you.
Yeah. Maestro, there's an ALDA 556 recoil nerf. So his LMG, I guess what it used to have was the hipfire recoil operated differently than other LMGs, and I guess they were trying to achieve some kind of suppression technique with that. Like it's pretty unclear, and like if they wanted that, they should have like emphasized it more when like he was released. But so kind of an inconsequential nerf coming to Maestro's LMG, so I'm not worried.
Yeah. SMG 11, that smokes and sledges SMG.
Yeah.
Which is nice because that thing,
the pocket SMG.
Yeah. That thing had a recoil that was like nuts. It was freaking nuts. Like recently I've been using it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing sucks now. I don't think I realized before just because I hadn't played in 2 years. And all of a sudden I'm starting to play and I'm like, what the freak happened to this thing?
Yeah, they nerfed it hard. And they took away the ACOG, which you were there for that. But
yeah.
Mira's Vector is getting reduced recoil, so that's good for Mira. That originally was a really, really good gun, and then they like messed up the recoil and it sucked. Well, it didn't suck, but it wasn't as good. Now it's going to be good again.
I feel like we can go over Lion and Glass kind of quickly. So Lion, we've been talking about how his whole wall hack thing's crazy. Basically, they're saying like, we don't like where he is.
Yeah, we don't know what to do. We're completely lost because we introduced this bad operator that we shouldn't have, and so we don't know what to do, but we need to fix it.
So, and I like too, like they're saying like, we might try doing this and we might try doing this. We're not really sure what we're doing, but here's some options that we might do. They're thinking of like a Jackal-like style ping, which will be interesting. Taking out the intel gathering aspect of his gadget. I don't know if that means like not giving it to the team or.
Yeah, I don't know. But it sounds like they're actively
working
testing
on something.
Stuff
they don't
online.
like it.
Glaz, they're basically saying he's too effective at actually pushing the site, and they're trying to make him fit more into the original idea of a sniper role that holds angles. They say it's early on in production, but it's a bit more promising than the Lion state. So it sounds like it's still early, but they are on the right path, they think, with Glaz. What do you think this means for Glaz?
I don't know. I thought like maybe they'll change his sniper to be like a bolt action sniper, so he won't be like able to spray down while he's trying to push something, but he can hold a hallway. It's like you try to come down the hallway and he hits you like you're down.
Do you think it's possible they would increase the zoom on his sniper?
Maybe.
Because then it would be harder to use the thermal scope as you're pushing. Because like the smoke and thermal scope is just ridiculous at close range. Like you can't see him, and he can just like you stand out like a freaking sore thumb.
Yeah, that would be actually very interesting.
Yeah, Like you wouldn't want to increase his recoil because that just makes it worse at long range.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to either that or making it like a bolt action, you can't push
slower
either.
rate of fire or increased zoom. I feel like I don't know what else. They specifically said they're not going to take away smokes.
Anyway,
I don't know.
Interesting though, and I like it.
Yeah,
good job.
Hello and welcome to the second half of episode 8 of the Unrenowned podcast. I cannot believe that happened. I'm so annoyed.
I think it's kind of funny.
It is kind of funny. But hey, you guys get 2 podcasts this week now. So here we come again with the AMA with the designers from this past week, as well as some other Reddit topics and listener questions. So if you don't know what this AMA is about, basically the designers, the balance people of the game, did an Ask Me Anything on Reddit. So people submitted their questions, and then they just answered the top upvoted ones. And so let's just dive right into it. So I got a question here. Why does Maverick destroy Evil Eye so quickly? And the designer said, we're fine with that, as the hard part of the process is to actually get to the Evil Eye. So I think that's kind of dumb. Because I think the whole thing about Evil Eyes and what makes them good is that they're difficult to destroy. And I don't think getting to the Evil Eye is actually that hard. I mean, I guess it depends on where you put it.
So that's the thing. A lot of people put the Evil Eye like outside to try to get a thermite charge. Like if it's out there, you can't expect for it to do well. Like
right,
anybody can walk up to it and destroy it.
That's certainly like risky. I guess like the thing is like if you put it, even if you put it like close, like inside, close to the objective, it's like.
Then what's the point of the Evil Eye? Honestly,
all he has to do is walk up to it and just touch it. Basically, like it's not. I don't know. I guess unless you're like setting traps with it, basically, where you're trying to kind of lure him in and then get him, like with somebody with a gun, you know.
Yeah. The problem with the Evil Eye is like if you put it inside the objective, it doesn't really do like the whole point. It's an extra camera, right? It's an extra camera, and it helps to prevent them getting to the objective in the first place. Usually,
right. And it's a good distraction because you can't ignore it because if you turn your back to it, it's doing damage to you.
Right.
But I don't know. Like I feel like I think I've said this before, but again, Ash and Sledge are both picked very frequently, and they can both kill it very easily. Mm-hmm. And then Zofia also can kill it. Anybody with a frag grenade can kill it. And anytime, if you're not careful enough with it and you're shooting at somebody, they can kill it, like anyone. So it's like, why does Maverick, who's already kind of at least people view him as being OP, even though maybe the data doesn't say that, but like, why does he need to be able to destroy it instantly? Like I just feel like I'm fine with him being able to destroy it, but it should at least take some fuel. It should take a full canister or something. It's just kind of dumb.
Yeah, it doesn't even like at least like a half a canister.
Sure,
because it's just a click.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, like even Sledge, the swing of his hammer actually takes what, a half a second or something.
Yeah, which
is even more than Maverick's. Like just a little bit of fire kills the bulletproof. I think it's stupid.
Do you remember when Sledge's hammer used to swing like way slower?
Very slow, yeah.
That was nuts.
Yeah, I can't believe that was ever a thing. Okay, so the second half of this question was, would you consider increasing Bandit battery's damage range so that Maverick gets zapped as he's torching a wall? They said, for Bandit, we don't feel as though that would change that much, as he would take minimal damage, which I agree with. I don't like Bandit's batteries do basically 0 damage.
Right.
So it's not really going to deter a Maverick from...
What this person should have asked is, would you consider increasing Bandit's batteries damage in general?
Right.
Not the range. The range is fine.
I get zapped by batteries
when you're doing the wall.
Doing that. Yeah, because it's just hard to judge the distance. And
I think it's just if the batteries did more damage in general and didn't have a stupid blue like and noise.
Yeah, I'm down for one or the other. Like I think probably the noise is the better way to go and get rid of the blue electric effect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. That's not going to make a difference. And again, I'm not sure if we really need to be trying to nerf Maverick.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think. I think the only thing that needs to happen with Maverick at this point that we've talked about in the past is just some sort of visual cue that he is doing. Loud, maybe not, but visual cue, like it gets brighter or something when he's blowing through a wall. Like if you're watching the wall, you should notice.
Right. Okay, give us the next one.
What do you believe has increased the wind delta of Frost and Capkin? The wind rate, the answer. The win rate of Kapkan and Frost has been fluctuating a lot over a season. They used to fluctuate from low to high in a season, so we are still analyzing the data.
So basically, they have no idea what's going on with Frost and Kapkan.
And what does this tell us exactly? That the meta changes on its own.
Yep.
You don't touch them. Nobody that they've touched has really affected Frost or Kapkan in any way, like significantly. And so clearly, operators that aren't touched will go from really, really good to really, really bad all of a sudden.
Now, where are we touching the operators?
Just wherever they want to be touched.
Okay, good to have that cleared up. Yeah, Kapkan and Frost, like, this is just proof of what we said, that people adjust to how other people play, right? Like, that's what meta is like, like people use meta to mean like, oh, the strategy, but that's not really what meta means. Like meta, like the prefix meta means like within, like kind of like in the context of gaming, it's the game within the game. Right. And so the meta is, it's not just, oh, that's your strategy. Like that's how people have used it now. The meta is like, oh, well, people are starting to be less careful about Kapkan and Frost traps because people don't use Kapkan and Frost. So now we're going to use Kapkan and Frost and start catching people on their not being cautious. Right. And that's what meta really is. It's like the game, like the mind games within the game. And so, yeah, like, they're saying even within a single season, they've gone from low to high on win and is it just win delta that they're really talking about? I think so.
Looks like it.
And I think that's exactly what it is. Like people stop picking them because they're not effective anymore, and then people stop being careful about it, and then people start picking them again. And it's just like, especially like when you've introduced Clash and you've introduced Maverick, who are like they evolve the game in very like different and specific ways. Like. I just think you can't really predict how that's going to affect the use of other operators.
I started using Kapkan a lot more recently just because like people aren't careful right now. I feel like people are just kind of rushing in.
Right. When you're getting a lot of rushes, it's like, okay, let's just do a straight trap.
Legion, Frost, Kapkan.
Yeah. And it really will slow them down real quick.
Yeah.
I actually had an idea. Like we should do like a Kapkan and Clash combo strategy where like Kapkan just lines up traps along like a hallway that Clash is playing in, and Clash just draws people into the traps. Or same thing with like Legion or like even Frost, like
all of them.
Yeah,
just a bunch of Kapkans and Legion mines and
just okay. Remember when I drew that Montaigne into the Frost trap?
No.
How do you not remember this? Okay, so you guys.
Oh! I thought you meant like drew,
Clash.
like literally like drawing with your hand, like pencil on paper. I know, that's why I was very confused.
I have sausage?
No, I don't. That's why I was confused. Yes, I do remember when you lured Montaigne into the Frost trap.
You guys should check out on my YouTube channel, VG Fiasco. I have a video of it was a 1v3 with the kit planted, and I'm trying to retake the objective, and there's a Monty just pressuring me super hard. And I had basically no way to beat him because I'm a 1-speed, and then I like saw a trap on the floor, and you can like on my screen you can see the instant where I saw my way out, and I was like I see the trap, and I like turned back to Montaigne, and I looked at the trap again, and it's like, okay, I know how to get out of this.
It worked.
It took some like clever maneuvering, but I lured him into it and won back the 1v3. So check that out on my YouTube channel. It's really funny. But my point being that like it'd be sweet if we could set things up like that with Clash. And I think we could, because when people see Clash, like especially if you can make them feel like they're safe, like Clash is alone, and then just like draw them into a Kapkan trap or something.
Right. Especially Clash now that she's received her nerf officially.
Right.
Nerf, you want to call it? I guess it is nerf. People I think are going to be less scared of her, and so we'll see her and rush her.
Yeah.
And we'll be their own demise.
Yeah, I think that'd be worth trying out.
Yeah.
Been toxic to Tachanka and Frost rework. So what are your plans for Tachanka and Frost? Yeah, so let's just stick on Frost for a second. They said Frost is very difficult to balance because her utility fluctuates. We've toyed with the idea of making her traps harder to destroy with bullets, which would prevent people from destroying them while vaulting. However, on some sites you cannot destroy the Frost trap any other reliable way, so this is not ideal. We're still assessing the best way to balance her. So it sounds like, again, Frost fluctuates so much, and they don't really know what to do. They've considered making her traps more bulletproof. I think if they did that, they would have to reduce the number that she has. You know, if you couldn't hop in a window and destroy it with your
having
gun.
3 would be too many.
Yeah, I think so. Especially if they're saying like on some objectives it makes it impossible to destroy.
And that's why I don't really think that's a good fix.
Yeah. What I think would be good is if it was like only a shotgun could destroy it, like a full, all the pellets hit the mat would be able to destroy it anyway, but like an assault rifle wouldn't be able to. I think that'd be kind of cool.
It would be cool. I think it'd be hard though, because I would be so frustrated with like the 1 or 2 times that I do it and just somehow one pellet misses or something and it doesn't kill it.
I guess. I mean, it doesn't have to be that specific, I guess, but like the point being, like, it would give some utility to shotguns if they were able to do it in other, like, most people are using ARs, right? Or maybe even DMRs. But like if only a shotgun could destroy it on your way in, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And it would give some more utility too to like the people who have secondary shotguns.
True.
Which, I mean, those guys are cool already, so I don't know why they need a buff. But
I feel like honestly Frost is fine. It just comes to that problem of like when you become the player that's smart enough to realize Frost is on the enemy team and to remember to look for her traps all the time. Like, that's where she is weak. And that's, like, how do you fix her at that point? Like,
Well, so, yeah.
Also, sorry, go.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah. Her elite skin has the freaking barbs that, like, come up on it. So when it's just that, like, the teeth or whatever, when it's just that, it's super easy to see, right? Like, anywhere it is. Unless it's under barbed wire.
Does that make it harder?
Oh, yeah. It's, like, almost invisible. It's not invisible, but it's significantly harder to see than a regular trap under barbed wire.
Interesting.
And so kind of, like, the problem with doing like traps and customizing how they look turns into like a pay to win. I'm not saying she is a pay to win operator with that elite skin.
Yeah.
But when you have traps that are easier to disguise under barbed wire than normal, like it does kind of turn into a like however an operator's color doesn't change anything as long as they don't make someone like wood color or something where you can literally lay on the floor and not be seen. But like that doesn't change much other than being annoying. But changing how traps look, like that's where you starts getting a little scary.
Twitch kind of has that too with her elite skin. Like her shock drone's a lot harder to see. Does it have the camouflage skin? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about.
It's certainly not as stand out as it is otherwise. But
I feel like that one's not as big as a deal because you can at least hear it and like it doesn't kill you, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not. Yeah, I'm just saying. So then like another one of the designers came in kind of on the same thing and said when you look into the data for Frost, she's very strong at every level of the game except diamond level on PC and Pro League. So sort of what you were just saying a minute ago, that like once you get into those higher levels, she becomes useless because people know to look at the ground every time they're going to come in, or they're droning more or whatever. So it's just like her traps are all about catching people who are unaware or not paying enough attention. And that's just not going to happen at higher levels like that. So, and then as far as Tachanka, they said, we do want to rework Tachanka both from a balancing perspective and also from a technical one. Tachanka is problematic for our team because he generates a lot of bugs every season. This is a high maintenance cost. So basically, like, they just hate that the like Tachanka even exists right now, and they don't know what to do about it. And it sounds like they want to get to it, but it's just they said right here, it's don't expect anything soon. This is low on our priorities. This is interesting though. This is low on our priorities as there are other operators to address before Tachanka. Which seems strange. I guess unless they're talking about somebody who's like very OP and like I guess like Lion, right?
Yeah.
That's where they're more concerned about addressing the ones that like feel broken in like a this hurts the game kind of way instead of broken as in this operator's not useful kind of way.
And the Tachanka has been not a part of the game for so long.
Right.
That like why focus on him right now when we have people that are part of the game that are problematic.
Right. Despite our Mirror Tachanka combo strategy, which is actually not, I mean, it only works in a very few spots, but when it works, it kind of actually works.
Works pretty well.
Yeah.
So this question, Monty is really bugged, as in meleeing him when his shield is unextended doesn't work every time. When fix? So first of all, his question, I can't figure out like if it's unextended. So I think what they're saying is when Montaigne has his shield not extended but in the normal shield position, when you melee him, it doesn't work every time, like as in it doesn't move his shield away, I think is what he's saying. Anyway, their answer is we do have a few R&D going on for shields to address some of the issues. We learned a lot from Clash. We want to keep exploring the idea where shields are non-lethal weapons. So we played on Madhouse. We did a few rounds where we were just like recruit shields, and there were multiple times where I was like shot through my shield or like knifed through my shield.
Right.
And I feel like that's been a problem this season and well, just all the time. I've always noticed like shield operators, they're finicky.
Mhm.
Like sometimes you'll get shot through your shield, sometimes you'll get knifed through it, and it's just super annoying.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and we shared that post in one of our first episodes about like that blitz that was basically 90 degrees rotated on the other player's screen, and it's like Blitz is looking right at him on Blitz's screen, but on the defender's screen, Blitz is basically facing the other way. So it's like, okay, if that's happening, like no wonder shields feel super broken,
Right.
right? Like, but like I don't know, like it sounds like they almost didn't really address like. Well, I mean, they said we do have R&D going on for shields to address some of the issues, but then like they went on to a separate topic, which was we want to explore the idea of shields being non-lethal weapons, which I wonder, like, I don't think this is the case, but do you think they might go back and retroactively make like Blitz and Monty less of lethal weapons? Or do you think this is more like going forward with new shield operators trying to make them non-lethal weapons?
I want to say it's okay.
I mean, Monty isn't really lethal as it is, right?
Right.
I think Blitz is the only one as it stands who is really like a lethal shield operator.
Correct. And I don't think we're going to see a new shield operator on attack for a few seasons.
Probably not. Yeah.
But I also don't think they're going to change Blitz because from where they were, they've moved to where Blitz is more of an aggressive attacking shield. Like they made it so he's a 2-speed and he can sprint with his shield up at you, flashing you.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's ridiculous.
I actually think Blitz is like he's a lot better than he used to be. Like it's frustrating when he gets you, but I mean, like the thing is, you hear him coming because he's a shield. Like it's not like you don't know he's coming, and so like, I mean, it feels like at our level at least, like it's pretty easy to just make sure that you're prepared for him when he's coming.
No, right. I think he's fine. I just think from what he was to what he is now, like it would be going backwards to say like now we're going to make him not lethal, and so that would be just completely different from where they've been going with him in general.
Right.
That was a while ago that they made that change, but
right. Speaking of Blitz, we were just talking about Tachanka a little bit and how they kind of want to like do a big rework of him, and it's interesting because Blitz is the only one that's had a full like, okay, we're changing your speed, we're giving you a full new ability with your gadget, and just like completely changing how you play altogether.
Right.
So I think that too is another reason why we haven't seen Tachanka, be addressed, or Castle also. Like these are the ones that they're saying they want to do a full rework, but that's just like it's almost a brand new concept to them.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, so especially it's like because you don't want to like undo their identity, But anyway, let's see what we got next. So that's you. Sorry, I keep like mixing up which ones are mine and yours. You did mention that you had plans for Capitao. His pick rate and win delta in Pro League have skyrocketed, but only his pick rate has gone up in ranked, which is still in the negatives. They said our goal is to find ways to make Capitao more usable in all levels of play, while not increasing his potency in Pro League. So this is interesting because, like, one, because I like Capitao.
Yeah.
But two, it's like, okay, how do you do that? How do you buff him for, like, almost like just as a thought exercise, not even necessarily specifically for Capitao, but how do you buff an operator for lower level players without buffing them for Pro League? What does that mean?
Yeah, and I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, like for Capitao specifically, I almost think like, what if it's take away his smoke bolts and instead give him 3 fire bolts? Because in Pro League, where like you're working as a team very well, and everything with Glaz, smoke is very potent, and Capitao is great because his smokes get past Jaeger's ADSs. They can go farther. They can get into spots that you couldn't toss a smoke regularly, and so it's like a big help to Glaz. So on specific maps, that's where you'll see Capitao be used a lot. And I again, we don't really follow Pro League, so I can't say it for sure, but I don't think his Firebolt is as potent in Pro League as maybe his smokes are.
Yeah, I can see that being the case, and I can also say with surety that I never see his smokes used in like our level play.
No, you don't.
Like never at all.
Yeah,
it's rare that I see. It's rare in the first place that I see Capitao, and then when I see him, I don't think I even see his utility used ever.
Oh, you see it. Because when I pick Capital, I get kills.
Oh, when you do it, but
who else do you ever see pick Capital besides me?
people that aren't on my
I'm
team.
like the whole pick rate of Capital is
you.
just Ryan
it's just you.
deciding not to play Thatcher.
That's all of it. And every time you do get kills with Capital every time.
I have like probably 30 kills with that thing.
That's it?
Yeah, well, I don't play that much. But like, I mean, it's just about like, you know what it's about? It's about finding where Echo is.
Him and Maestro.
Yeah.
Sitting there on their cams in a really stupid spot all the time. Like, they're not
They're
really
always in
thinking.
some corner. It's like, oh, I'm going to get you. Also,
Right.
we tested something interesting about Capital the other day. This is really cool. So, his fire goes through walls. That's what we were trying to test. It does go through walls. But okay, here's what's interesting. If you shoot his fire directly at a wall, it's sort of like almost like the fire sort of bounces off the wall and sort of recenters itself so that the edge of the fire is touching the wall. Right. Like the vortex of the fire sort of like bounces off and like recenters. But if you shoot down at like where the wall meets the floor, so it's just like right there in the little fold or crevice or whatever you would call that, like the corner angle, then it stays right where you shot it, and the fire will overlap over the wall, and you can kill people through walls like that. So it's super interesting. Like, most people would never figure that out, right? Like, most people probably wouldn't even be sure whether or not it goes through the walls. But like, if you actually take the time to like test stuff with an operator, then you can learn things. Like, if there's a specific operator you lose a lot, you should really take some time to go test exactly how their gadget works and how it reacts to different situations. Because like, now that I know that, like, I can be way more effective with Capital to choose, like, if I want my bolt to be more centered in the small room I'm shooting it in, or if I want it to overlap through the wall.
Yeah. Ryan has 27 kills with the succeeding
I
bolts.
probably have about 30 kills with that thing.
Yeah, there you go. I looked it up.
How many hours do I have on him?
It was like 19.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just interesting that they're trying to do that, and I'd be interested to see what happens with Capital, knowing that that's their goal.
It'll be interesting to see, like, one day in the future when they're done making operators, just to see where they leave everybody. Like, I'm excited for that day.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I have more than once I have said, I wish they would just stop making operators and maps. Like,
Oh, yeah. I'm
stop breaking my game. This is my beautiful siege. Please stop.
I'm down. I think, and we've talked about this, but I think it's getting to a point where you get too many operators.
Mm-hmm.
And people always say, like, well, League of Legends has, like, 130 something heroes. Like, yeah, and it's too many.
Yeah.
It sucks. Like, being a new player trying to play League of Legends sucks.
Yeah, it's practically impossible.
It really
you
sucks.
just have to choose one and kind of go with it, and then you don't really know what anybody else can do to you, so then it becomes very difficult.
Yeah, it really does just suck.
And like, speaking as somebody who knows very little about League of Legends, and I'm sure people who play League of Legends a lot and are very into it would agree or argue with me 100%. But like, I just don't think there's as much variance in League of Legends heroes as there are in Siege operators. Like, obviously there is, but I feel like there's more of like, okay, this fits into a mold of this kind of character, and he does this thing, and maybe it's faster, or maybe it does more damage, or like has, you know, a faster, a smaller cooldown or something. But overall, like, okay, like a grab and pull somebody in is kind of the same ability, no matter how many different heroes do it.
Right.
And it's just like, it's a difference of how fast they can do it, how far they can do it, how often they can do it, like, and then like what other abilities they have to combine with it, right? And it's like, but
Right.
overall, like, it's pretty much like, oh, this is an area of an effect attack. Oh,
Correct.
this is like
This is a slow.
a
This
skill
is
attack, like, you know, like,
Yeah. League of Legends also has the store in it, and which increases kind of that, like, you have to know more because certain things that you buy work with different heroes, which is hard. Makes that harder to learn.
we should
But
probably do more comparisons with games we actually play, so we can make intelligent comparisons.
I mean, that is an intelligent comparison, I think.
So
I know enough about I know enough about League of
Rocket
Legends
League,
to
there's
be
only
able to
one ball.
compare it. Heroes of the Storm, I can go with that one for a little while. But yeah, I just think, like, it gets to a point, like, and if you've been playing the game forever, like, of course you're gonna want new operators, you want more exciting stuff, you want more maps, whatever. But it just gets to a point where it's like, this is too much.
Yeah, I mean, but to be honest, like, I freaking love Maestro, so like, I would be really sad if Maestro hadn't come along because they stopped after Dustline. But
Well, you wouldn't have known. So
Right.
you wouldn't really be sad.
It's sort of like the thing of like, when should you stop having kids? And you're like, oh, I'd be sad if I didn't have the last kid I had, so maybe I should have another one. But it's like, well, if I just didn't have another one, then I would never know what I was missing. So,
Right.
Most of you guys probably aren't at that stage in your lives, but I am.
Are you guys going to do something about the cancer meta? This is something that we have talked about a lot. For example, Lion and some combo of Jackal, Blitz, and Dokkaebi. I'll read their answer real fast. What you're describing is problematic for us, and we want to address it in the future. So this is, I agree, cancer meta.
Yeah, let me just
Very
interrupt you
annoying.
for 1 second. I like how many of these, they have very non-committal answers. Like, oh yeah, like, oh, you're totally right. Like, this is a problem. We want to address it sometime. It's like,
Yeah.
I get you can't give us like your specific plans, and you can't promise anything because software
don't
development's
know.
hard and you never know, and timelines are tight. But it's just like, okay, like I'd rather you just didn't answer it.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on with your
But
thought.
I do like that they say it's problematic for them because it is a very cancerous meta at this.
Yes.
So you got, okay, Lion with Jackal, Blitz, and Dokkaebi. So you have Blitz, which the cure for Blitz as a defender is don't be one-on-one against Blitz. Don't get surprised. Don't
Right,
roam.
work together, position well.
Right. Cure for Lion, just stand still. Cure for Jackal, don't go anywhere during the preparation phase. And cure for Dokkaebi is stand next to a mute jammer. So they're all operators that like there's no good counter to them other than things that are like silly.
So the
Counters.
counter is like, spend the whole prep phase standing on a mute jammer, holding a nitro, waiting for Blitz to come at you.
Correct. That's exactly what you should do in order to face these people. And it's so just so annoying. Like, you have Dokkaebi's phone freaking ringing that doesn't ever shut off. You're being tracked by Jackal, and Lion Sing's going off so you can't move.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, what are you supposed to do? What could you have done to prevent that exact thing from happening? Nothing.
Right.
There was nothing you can do.
Yeah, and that's my big problem with these tracker operators and the ones with the global abilities. Is like, okay, there's no counter. Like, what, like, and not necessarily like, oh, there's no operator that hard counters this. Like, I don't care about that.
No.
I care about like, I couldn't have done anything to avoid having that happen to me.
Right.
Right. Like, I didn't misplay by going to like reinforce a hatch and then Jackal saw my footprints. Like, it's just dumb that the footprints last for a minute and a half for Jackal to see.
So I got Jackal recently. I think I've lost maybe one round with him, and I've played a lot.
Yeah.
I can't see my exact stats because they're not loading. I don't know if it's because I haven't played him enough. I think just the stats are broken right now is what I've been hearing, seeing recently. But I wouldn't be surprised if my win-loss with him was like 4 point something because I have won a lot with Jackal recently.
Yeah. So we actually like, was it like the night that you got him that we started
Being
we were
cancerous.
playing, and yeah, and I was like, oh, like, yeah, let's try this cancer thing out. Like, I'm kind of interested to see how it works. So he was doing Jackal, basically his first time playing, and I was doing Dokkaebi, and I've done maybe like an hour of Dokkaebi, maybe 2.
Yeah.
And like, here we are just like completely dominating people. Like, Cav was not a problem
Oh,
anymore.
it was actually really nice.
Yeah.
Because Kavera, I hate her.
We'd spend the
sometimes.
first minute of the round just hunting down Kavera between the two of us and just completely wreck her, get her phone, and then continue to actually attack the objective.
It's so
with,
fun.
Like, with a pretty well assurance that where we're going, there's nobody around us.
Yeah.
So, like, it's silly what you can do with those guys.
It is. And it is frustrating. Like, Kavera is the only one that can, like, get out of it because she can do her little silent step and you can't find her anymore.
But
Anyway.
then you just ring your phone.
Good point. Yeah.
So it's like what can you do to avoid it? All right. Let's see what we got here. So this guy says, hey, I'm an alibi main. I was wondering if anything would ever be done about her in regards to her ability. I'm high gold and players barely fall for her gadget anymore. I was wondering if there were any future plans to buff her or at least make it so her holograms copy her cosmetics to provide variety in the hologram things. They said adding cosmetics are probably not a thing due to technical limitations. That makes sense. But changes to other operators might make her prismas more appealing. And that's what I think is interesting about what they're saying here about Alibi. Changes to other operators might make her prismas more appealing. What could that possibly mean? Because it doesn't sound like they're saying like forthcoming operators. It sounds like they're saying changes to existing operators.
Right. And there's not at this point an operator like in specific whose gadget would directly affect alibis, like other than Thatcher's EMPs. But like, I don't think it's something like that. I think what really it is just other players.
Well,
like,
maybe, wait, hang on. Maybe it is Thatcher because like they're talking about making changes with Thatcher.
So their change is going to make him
the
weaker.
thing is, Thatcher doesn't even destroy her alibis, her prismas.
Yeah.
He just disables them. So I don't see how any change to that would be better for Alibi.
And I don't think Twitch should not be able to destroy it. I think that'd be silly. I think what maybe would happen is like, the crosshairs on your screen, but how they turn red when you look at someone. I think that might happen over alibis now. Like it might turn red, which is what like in Halo 4 they started using holograms and they looked like more real, and those would turn red when your reticle crosshair was on it.
I feel for holograms all the time in Halo 4.
Yeah, they were pretty good because they would move too.
Yeah, so the way they would work is you would kind of throw it out, and like for the first like where it's like spawning, it would sort of have the hologram flashy thing that like Alibi has when you walk through her prismas. But then it would just go solid, and it would just look like a person just running.
Yeah,
it would have like whatever gun I think you were holding, it would have that. So like if you had like a sniper rifle or something, then you'd have to show somebody running around with a sniper rifle, and so it's going to draw a little bit more attention, right? And I mean, like sometimes it was obvious, like if it was like just running into a group of people and like completely ignoring everybody, then it's obvious. But like sometimes you just see it running along and it wasn't quite so obvious, and you'd shoot at it and it wouldn't reveal you or anything, but it'd just be a distraction.
Yeah, and it would reveal you enough to like the enemy, not like as a spot or something, but like they would see your bullets and know that okay, there's someone on that corner.
Right.
But anyway, I don't know what exactly they're planning with that, but it'll be interesting to see.
So one thing you mentioned before on this was that what if his thermal scope highlighted prismas?
Yeah, that's right.
Right, and that would be super detrimental to Glaz.
Yes,
I think in a good way. And it would be a great buff for Alibi.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like.
Yeah, I think that's one operator that does have actually a gadget that could be manipulated by a prisma.
Yeah, and like, how cool would that be? It's like, if the Glaz isn't being careful enough, or if he thinks he sees a spawn peak and he shoots at it, it's like, okay, well, now we know where Glaz is outside the map, which can be pretty important sometimes.
Right.
And just make him scared to feel like he's safe to keep his head poked out,
So this one, did you ever scrap an operator idea because the concept would be too imbalanced? They said, not for balancing, we scrap ideas if they are not fun or frustrating. When developing, we are trying to create as many levers as we can to balance an operator with numbers during our test sessions and with the pros. A good counterexample of not doing that is ... Lion. So I love this because basically it's showing and proving that they aren't happy with Lion right now. Like, it is kind of pissing them off. And basically what they like to have other little dials like on the wall. They can like you were saying, turn up and down a little bit and mess with it.
Yeah.
And with Lion or Frost, which is another one that they talked about in another comment, those two, there are no dials. It's Frost downs you. It's Lion reveals you. Like there's no dial to turn down or anything. Like,
I mean, on Lion, it's like the time and everything is cooldown. Like, so there's a little bit, but like overall, you can't turn down the dial on wall hacks.
No.
So, also, if they do scrap ideas that are for operators that are not fun to play, how did Vigil get in?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Throwing shade.
How? Like, honestly,
Vigil's not fun.
He doesn't do anything.
He does nothing. Yeah, he's not fun. Yeah. So I guess basically just Lion sucks was the point of that question.
Yeah,
or the point of that answer.
Exactly.
Which, I mean, to be honest, like I'm kind of with everybody that like, yeah, Lion kind of sucks, but it does not bother me. I don't think nearly as much as it bothers everybody else.
I don't really have problems with him because
again, maybe it's our level.
I just stand still.
We're just bad, so it's just like whatever.
Could be.
Can you guys go into detail, as long as we're online, about why Lion hasn't simply had his ability reduced to just himself rather than a global ability? The reason why is, while yes, it would be a nerf in practice, the frustration of facing him as a defender would be pretty much the same. Even if you know that only one of the attackers can see you through walls, would you try to move? The solution we are experimenting with Lion... okay, they did not phrase this right. The solutions we're trying with Lion are meant to lower the frustration of facing him and not simply weaken him. So yeah, their point is, I mean, if you look at the stats of where Lion falls on the win rate chart, like he's not super high. He's kind of like right where he should be. The problem is like the perception of Lion and like how frustrating it is to play against him. And it's cool to me that they've recognized that that's the problem with Lion, right? They like it's just not fun to play against Lion. It ruins the flow of the game. And so, like they're saying, having it where just you're revealed to just one person doesn't make it any less frustrating than being revealed to the whole team.
Right.
So they're looking for a different way to handle it. Which, like, okay, if we're as long as we're talking about operators who are frustrating, can we please do something about Jackal?
Yeah, he is, and Dokkaebi too.
Yeah.
The both of them. And those, I feel like the Dokkaebi fix is easy, right? Like,
yep. Stop ringing after 8 to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Yep. And they've said this, and I think this is going to happen.
I hope so. I'm excited for the next, like, the new patch. So because we're doing this podcast after our other one, the patch was officially, the full patch was officially released for console and PC. And like some of the patch notes was like, it was stuff from like the other patch that was like already supposed to be in. So people were like, I'm confused. Like, wasn't this already in? It was
sort of like
half of it was, half of it
wasn't. Was this the thing
wasn't.
where they kind of like reverted some changes to get another change in or something?
No, so that was on the test server.
I know, but was it not the same? Because
No.
the reason they reverted on the test server was because they wanted to test a build that was coming.
Right. So this one, there was like 2 parts of the patch. They did one part of the patch that fixed a bunch of stuff.
Oh, okay.
And then they just threw in like the new stuff with Clash in there again. That was originally in the test server.
Mm.
And they just did that and kept the same patch notes. So it was like the same patch notes, but it had already been rolled out on PC, just not on consoles yet.
That's pretty
So anyway,
confusing.
that patch is out, but I'm excited for the next patch of like real changes.
Yeah, like have we had the mid-season patch? Is that what that was?
I think so. It wasn't very exciting.
No, usually the mid-season patch is a lot more. I mean, I guess Clash.
So it was
really
called
had...
mid-season reinforcement, and this is right. This is mid-season. They're getting close to having to release.
Yeah, did they call it mid-season reinforcements?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I
interesting.
double check that, but it is October 30th, right? Like they have.
Yeah,
they're supposed to release their 4th operator. Their 4th set of operators.
Yeah, well, I don't know when their seasons actually start. Do you?
No, but it used to be on a year calendar, right?
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, they've always been off on that.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to be released in January.
No, probably not. Okay, next one. Let's see. I think you've kind of taken all of them. Let's go with this one. Will the community be getting more quality of life improvements, such as calling timeouts, as some players disconnect and going to any round handicapped is pretty bad, as players tend to get frustrated? They said, yeah, we agree the game needs more quality of life improvements. There are more coming in the future, but nothing to share now. So first, let's talk about this timeouts idea. I think it's kind of cool, although nobody's going to sit there or want to sit there and wait for a timeout while some player's trying to reconnect.
Right. And I think this long forever ago when there was dial-up internet on StarCraft 1 when you were playing online, there was a pause game button where it would pause the game for everybody.
Yeah.
Right? And it was like 30 minutes? Was that or was like 10 minutes?
No, you could. And so this is separate than the pause. So there was like an actual like human starts a pause, and then there was like a connection lost.
See, that's what I was talking about.
Timer.
That one's like 30
45 seconds.
Oh, it was only 45 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Ryan knows a lot more about. I don't really play StarCraft.
Also,
I just knew
45
this
seconds
existed.
depended on like, I don't know if it was like depended on the connection or depended on like your computer, but like it wasn't actually 45 seconds. Sometimes it went a lot slower. So, like, anyway, trivia.
Anyway, this is what happened in StarCraft 1 back in 2000. So
1998.
No, yeah, but it happened in 2000, right?
Okay.
Like
Brood War.
Anyway. Where am I going with this? So Siege. Now, I don't think this needs to be a thing in like our like in gold level of play, but I think in like the diamond matches where literally losing one player for one round can mean the game, like that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I think then that would be something that's like more important.
Yeah.
To have some sort of pause function. I feel like ranked matches, while it should be the same in all from like copper all the way to diamond, there should be some differences. Like I don't feel like copper players need to have a pick and ban phase. I'll be completely honest.
Yeah.
But I think
right.
diamond does need to have pick and ban phase. And I think diamond does need some sort of pause. Like this person lost connection. We need to make sure like they're back by the next round.
You got to think about the experience for everybody. And like the other team, it's like, okay, I'm sorry that one of your teammates has a garbage internet connection, or even the Ubisoft servers suck. Like it happens to everybody. Kind of deal with it.
Right.
What I would like is if there was something where like the game could recognize, oh, this guy is reconnecting like right now as we speak, and then if the round was getting ready to start, it would just hold for like, let's say 30 seconds. Give him 30 seconds to finish his connection and get an operator and get in, spawn in for the next round, rather than like he connects just as the round's loading, and then like you sit there and wait for him to load in, and then he doesn't even spawn.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that is annoying. I think one thing that's also very annoying is, you know how like it has that. So you have your screen where you pick your operators, and then it brings you to like this, like it counts down that you sit at that one screen where it has like the little time capsules on everybody where they're loading.
Yep.
Why does it not start loading while you're picking your operator?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, start that freaking process.
Yeah.
Also, another one, when you click the, like, okay, when you load up the game, you have to click, like, press any key. Then it starts connecting to Ubisoft servers.
Yes.
Why didn't you start connecting while I was loading the game?
Yeah, I don't get what that's
like,
about.
could that have been that hard while you're showing me graphics of NVIDIA and all this other stuff?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Anyway, sorry.
I mean, as long as we're talking about quality of life improvements, yes, please fix that stuff.
Yeah,
like,
those two.
Another one is like, we still need this fix. Like, fix the freaking buying menus. Like, they're so bad. They like, you have to go through like 7 menus just to buy an attachment. It's like so stupid.
Oh, buying.
Yeah, well, you don't buy attachments anymore, so I guess that's not a thing. But like buying skins and all that stuff,
right.
like, or even attaching, switching your attachments and all that. Like, why do you have to go through so many menus, and why are they so console designed? Right, like, design on PC, design it for a PC. Like, I don't want to move my mouse all the way across the screen to hit this icon. Like, just keep all my, like, give me a menu, you know?
Yeah, give me like a nice, like, almost like clicking file menu.
Yeah, like, totally. And like, let me go through it with my keyboard.
PC
I guess
games.
you can go through with your keyboard, but like, give me hotkeys and stuff where I can just be like, oh, 1, 2, 2, 1 or whatever, you know, like, and like, we got this improved a lot when they allowed you to change your attachments and stuff like in a match.
Yeah.
Okay, those of you who are newer, can you believe this? You didn't used to be able to change the attachments that you were using in a match.
Yeah, you used to have to wait for the match to end and then stop matchmaking.
Yep.
So you could go back to your home screen and then you could go to the operator menu.
Yep.
Once you started matchmaking, that was it. It was over.
If you had a red dot, you were going with the red dot.
Yep.
And you couldn't change. And people tried to argue that was good because it simulated like going prepared for a SWAT team. Like,
oh, yeah.
No, that's dumb, first of all, because number one, we're not trying to simulate real life. We're trying to make a fun game. Number two, like, okay, you don't think SWAT shows up with a truck full of equipment and they can, like, choose, like, oh, this is actually going to be close quarters. I'm going to bring a shotgun and not my assault rifle.
Yeah.
Like, you're stupid. Like, this is dumb. Like, no.
There's a lot of past ideas that were very stupid in the past and now are like, oh, yeah, that should be a thing.
Yeah.
Like, if Ubisoft made a change today about let's say the sites. Let's say they made all the sites have more visibility on them.
You've said this before.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
A year from now, people will, if someone made the suggestion like, oh, sites should have less visibility, everybody would say, oh, that's so stupid.
Yeah.
But if somebody were to say today, sites should have more visibility, everyone would say, no, that's so stupid.
Yeah.
So it's just what you're used to is what you like.
There's a tendency to defend what exists, and to like seek and build up the argument, basically paint the target around the arrow.
Right.
Right. Like,
and can you believe it used to be like a general consensus that it was okay to not have voting in casual matches or not know your spawn location? Like, that was good.
Yeah.
Like, this is good. This is good for now. Like, clearly it's not good. Nobody likes it now. It's
Can you
great.
believe there was a time when we couldn't vote in casual matches?
Can you believe there was a time where we could? Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Closed beta. It was great.
Yeah. Not on a released product, unfortunately.
No. Speaking of such, this is my question that was answered.
Yay.
Balancing question between game modes. This is me. This is me writing this. Balancing question between game modes, : Casual is nothing like ranked and doesn't prepare or teach players for ranked matches. Any plans to bring the two game modes closer, like maybe bringing spawn voting back, or communicating spawn location to defenders, ? Their response: we agree with you, winky face.
Pretty good.
So we don't know what that means, but
It means they agree with you.
they agree with me. And I have been saying this for a very long time. 3
Literally
years.
since before the game was released.
Yeah.
When they did the technical test, and that was what, like sometime in November?
Right.
It was like a weekend. They did a technical test. Voting was out, and we were like, what the F? Like, we broke our game.
I think open beta had the voting removed already.
Yeah.
And I was not happy.
And yeah, we wrote some Reddit posts and all this stuff. And then at one point I made a video about why voting should be in casual.
Very good video.
Thank you. I think more people should think
We
that.
should, do you still have that base video on your computer? Well, even if you don't, you can re-download it from YouTube and then upload it to Reddit, like just to Reddit.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see what it could get.
Because, okay, I'll be honest. When you upload, if you're trying to get, it depends what your motive is when using Reddit. If you're trying to use it to like get karma, or if you're trying to use
Pro strats, right? Here
Yes.
we go. We need like a Chris's like
guidelines for posting on Reddit.
Like Reddit tip moment every
I will, yeah.
episode.
So I'll give you your 3 guidelines for Reddit posting. 1, the time you post is essential, depending on what you're talking about. 2, like, for example, stupid memes, middle of the night is a great time to post that crap. Discussion, great time to post it in the morning. Also, the title of your post. Did I say that? Title of your post. And then 3rd...
Title matters. Like, there's been a few that I've posted and, like, got no traction, so then I just deleted it and reposted it with a better title.
Right.
And, like, hey, I got 700 upvotes on that
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So, when you post on Reddit, if your goal is to, like, have people go to your YouTube channel, then sure, link it straight to YouTube.
But only once every 10 posts because...
Right, because it's not allowed. But know that is not going to get as many clicks as it will if it's
built
just
into
on Reddit.
Yep.
If it's right on Reddit, people are much more likely to watch it, upvote it, and see it. But when it links them to YouTube, it doesn't happen. So I just think we should resubmit that.
Yeah, I would be really interested to see like what
the
how
reaction
it does.
is on it.
Because it didn't get a lot of traction the first time around.
No.
Although like the tail of it, just like being on YouTube, it's actually like consistently continuing to get more views and like comments and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's interesting now that the community's like turned heel on that. It'd be cool to see what they thought.
To know in the end we were right the whole time.
I knew I've known I was. I mean, the whole reason we started this podcast is because we know we're right about everything, and like nobody can actually argue with us because it's just us here talking,
right?
And nobody's listening. So we can just sit here and spew forth all our truth and not have to defend it. Let's blow through the last bit of these real quick. What amount of time and effort goes into creating operators and allowing previous operators to serve as counters? They said from start to launch, it takes 9 months to create an operator. And I just thought that was interesting because it's like, that means they're working on year 4, season 2 operators as we speak. Like, at least in a concept phase.
Yeah.
And the next 2 operators are probably finished, like relatively, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the ones after that are probably in a playable state.
Yeah. This also means that they had Lion in working for 9 months and didn't realize this is a bad idea.
Months. They literally went through a full gestation period with Lion and did not abort. Like, what were they doing? Abort. 9 months, a full pregnancy.
9 months for Lion and didn't ever think like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this. Then they went with it and thought, oh, we shouldn't have done that. Big mistake. Should have never had that one.
Should have used protection.
What are you planning to do with DMRs? It's hard in Siege to have weapons that compete with automatic weapons due to the one-shot headshot mechanic, but we are trying. So basically, we don't know.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I think DMRs are pretty hard to balance in this kind of game.
Yeah.
And that's why they have problems with glass, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just, the game's not suited for that kind of play. Last one, why do all the new ops feel so OP? Is it intentional? And if you're not the guys who balance before release, what do you look at for ideas? How do you come up with fixes? And how long do you rest before the test servers? Do you test before the test server is updated? Thank you for your response. They said we don't feel all operators that come out are too OP. A good example of that is Parabellum. That's Alibi and Maestro, which haven't had really any changes. They've been great.
Yeah.
Moreover, sometimes OP is tricky because, as you can see from the graph, neither Clash or Maverick are that dominant. Sometimes it's about making them more interesting to play against or with. Which again, if you're trying to make them more interesting to play, how did Vigil get into this game?
I don't know.
All the shade on Vigil this episode. Yeah, like I think looking at their data, Clash and Maverick aren't OP. So like number one, community, like get your panties out of a bunch, like chill. And two, like it's just you can't tell until the community gets a hold of it, right?
Yeah.
Like you just can't anticipate what millions of players are going to do with what you created and you tested with 100 people.
Yeah. Once you put a million minds together, people come up with the craziest crap.
Right. Yeah. So it's tricky. And
what was that? This is tangent. What was that show you were talking about? We were having this discussion on Discord like a month ago, where like there was some movie, where, like the whole key of the movie was to go back like 5 minutes, in a video game was to go backwards or whatever.
Yeah. Ready Player One. So Ready Player One is a great book. It's an okay movie. The problem with the movie, like there's a lot of problems, But like the first thing that like really, really irked me was that you probably don't, for those of you who don't know, the premise of Ready Player One is it's basically like in a dystopian future where like VR is like a real thing, where like it's not just VR games like today, but like you can live in this virtual world. And so basically that's what people do, right? Like they do whatever it takes to make a living during the day, and then they go live in the VR world. And some people even like they work in the VR world. So like the whole thing is like the world is based around this VR world. And so there's this whole like treasure hunt thing that's kind of the central point of the story. But at the first challenge of this treasure hunt is this race, right? This car race. And so the race is super tough. You can't make it to the end. There's all these monsters that'll kill you and all this stuff. And then after years and years and years, spoilers incoming, after years and years and years of people trying to finish this race, this one kid finally figures out, oh, you have to go backward from the start. That's the solution. And it's like, okay, you're really trying to sell me on the premise that in a world full of gamers, people who like live their life in a video game, nobody thought to go backward. What's the first thing you do when you start a Mario game? You go left. You don't go right. What's the first thing you do when you played Limbo? You went left and you got that egg, and then you went right and played the game. Like, this is stupid. Don't try to act like this thing could exist for years without anybody going backward.
Yeah, no way. Real life, that would have been found out within 5 minutes of a video game.
How did we get here? What are we talking
So
about?
my point with that was the whole million people thing. We put a million people together, they make up the craziest stuff to do.
Right.
That you never even think of.
Yeah.
Like, you try to hide Easter eggs in video games, and people freaking find them.
Yeah.
Like, how do you find stuff like that?
I guarantee you the photon cannon rush was not a thing that the StarCraft developers envisioned or anticipated. That was a thing that people figured out and did it, and like, hey, well, that's actually kind of silly stupid. But
Works.
It's a legitimate strategy. Okay, so that's most of the big stuff from the AMA. There's other stuff in there that we skipped over, so if you really want to, you can go through and read it. We did want to just go through just brief one-liners of like things they answered about questions about other operators and stuff. So they did mention we do want to rework stun grenades in the future. That's interesting. Lion is definitely on the rework roadmap. We talked about Lion a little bit already. Fuse, we need to rework his gadget, and we want to do a full pass at some point. It's very risky and not reliable to use his gadget most of the time. Also, his kit is not great at the moment, and we want to change that. That almost sounds like they're looking at him as like a Castle or a Tachanka with like kind of a full rework type of thing.
Yeah.
Although I really think Fuse is not that bad. You know?
I don't think he's awful, but his gadget is so loud.
Yeah, it is, and it's risky, but if you can get it off, a lot of times it can be so good that I think that balances it out.
Yeah.
Smoke, we have plans to make his smokes more consistent, although we don't really want them to be as concealing as regular smoke grenades, which is good. I think that they shouldn't be because they do damage. But there is a lot of inconsistency there.
Yeah. The problem with smoke is, like, you can't, like with Legion, you can throw out all of his mines. With Ella, you can throw out all 3 of her Grismots. With smoke, you can only throw out 1. And then you have to detonate it to throw another one. So if you put one like a good spot, and then all of a sudden you need your other one like right away, you have to blow up that one that's in a good spot. Your team might be there, like you don't know, you're not looking,
right?
And then you have to throw your other one to detonate that one, and so it just kind of sucks. Like you have 3 of these things, but you can really only use one at a time, which is fine in a way, but
yeah,
it's kind of frustrating.
I think it wouldn't be that hard to make some kind of interface on the HUD where you could cycle through the 3 that you have deployed, right? Like we have stuff like that with cameras and everything. I think they could do that, so that would be cool. Finka, we want to address Finka, but she's not a super high priority. I think Finka's actually in a pretty good spot.
Yeah.
Thatcher rework, it impacts many systems, which is why it takes so long. That makes a lot of sense. Anything you do to Thatcher, that affects half of the defenders.
Yeah.
Right, so it has to be thoroughly tested, and you really have to think about it.
Yeah.
Castle, still in the pipeline, but low priority. Again, I'm surprised and sad about that, and Tachanka, but I guess, again, their priority is bringing people who are overpowered down to the right level than fixing people who are underpowered.
Correct.
Kavera, we've tried a couple of crazy things for Cav, but they are on hold right now because we think she's in a good spot. What crazy things are they trying for Cav?
I have no idea, but I am very interested to know.
Yeah, me too. The Lord, nothing specific at this time, but we haven't forgotten the Lord.
Very impressed with them on one of the posts that they did, like the little, what's that called? Like
The
the little,
Tachanka text
salute.
art. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
I'm impressed.
Also, I wanted to bring, I think we talked a little bit about Glaz and how they would adjust him on the last episode, right? Because they were talking about how they wanted to make him less of a pusher.
Right.
So I was playing the other day and I thought, like, what if he couldn't really see through smokes anymore? Like, the thermal would work, but you can't just, like, see through the smoke with your thermal.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So, like, the operators would still be highlighted, but you can't, like, see the room.
You can't see perfectly through it.
Right, because that doesn't make sense.
Right.
That's not how thermal works, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, and the thing is, my knowledge on this is what I've seen in movies. And so as I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to think, what have I seen in a movie where it does that? Because I don't know.
My dirty little secret, I've never actually used thermal goggles. So
I'm not sure how they work, but I do not think it does not make sense to me. No. You don't see through stuff with thermal. You
it wouldn't
see
make sense. Especially
heat.
because it seems like the smoke would be heated.
Right.
You
also, obviously, you don't see things as clearly as, like, his thermal scope lights up anything bright gold and perfect.
Oh, right.
Like, obviously it doesn't work, but, like, obviously we don't care about that. But I don't think he should be able to see through smoke. That's actually a good point.
Yeah, and I think that would be a really effective way of making him a less effective pusher, because you'd be bumping into things. Like, I mean, there'd be good players who would be able to work around it. Wouldn't be a problem at all.
And you would know, like, where your stuff is, but it would help significantly to not know, like, oh.
And if you get turned around and you get lost in the smoke, like, well, sorry.
Yeah.
Like, you're lost in the smoke. What do you do about it?
You tried to push his glass.
Yeah. So, like, I think that might be an effective way to handle that.
That's interesting.
Okay, let's move on to some regular Reddit posts, and then we will do Twitter questions, and then we will close this out. I should have mentioned at the beginning of the episode, don't forget to join the new Discord server, guys. Hopefully, we've already got some people on there. I haven't actually looked today, but the episode's been published.
Yeah, so I think I've like had 3 people join.
Oh, nice. We still got to kind of finish setting it up. Like, we have some channels in there and stuff, but we don't have any, like, welcome message or anything. So
right.
So real quick, one person, Feij, Feij, posted, okay, let me just throw out, Reddit is too small to read when your laptop is like a microphone's distance away from you. Like, it's hard to read like little names. He posted, allow Castle to roll out his armor panels as a carpet to deny vertical play. Hire me, Ubi. Which, pretty sure we talked about that, like, several days before he posted this on the last episode of Unrenowned. So actually, don't hire him. Hire Will Shikabab.
Will Shikabab.
Hire Will Shikabab, because he had that exact same idea first. Okay, now here's my real Reddit post. This guy is JSL8 on Reddit. Operator ideas that could change current strategies. Bastille is his operator idea. So he actually called us out on his post, which is cool. He said, hey guys, I was listening to the Unrenowned podcast this past weekend on op ideas. They had some great ideas, but I noticed that most of them were variants on ways to expose or hide player location, sound whoring, cameras, tagging, with the exception of the EMP idea. So first of all, we were actively trying to avoid ideas with the spotting and stuff, and we were trying to find ideas of, like, to suppress the spotting because we think that's a problem.
Which is where the EMP idea came from.
Right. But I think he's not giving us quite enough credit here, because we did have like Warden, who was like the chains. That has nothing to do with spotting anybody, although there would be sound associated with it, but that's with all gadgets pretty much. We had the guy with the decoy defender gadgets, right?
We had Shrapnel, the guy that shot the freaking...
Yeah, Shrapnel for sure.
I think the only one that we had with, like, spotting was the guy with the motion sensor.
Yeah, we had Oracle, but that's really playing into
Valkyrie.
Existing cameras. That's not like additional spotting or anything like that. So give us a little bit more credit, JSL8. Also, the more I think about it, I think Shrapnel is an amazing idea and he should exist.
Yeah, he'd be pretty cool.
Just the ability to just, like, blow this, like, huge, just bunch of shrapnel through a soft wall and just obliterate whatever's on the other side. Yeah. That sounds amazing.
It'd be fun.
Okay, so anyway, he wanted to think about ideas that would inspire new ways to approach attack and defense strategy rather than focusing on variants of spotting, hiding gadgets. And he came up with Bastion. So basically, Bastion has like an extendable fence that he's saying he have like 3 panels, like a 3-panel fence. He would get 2 of them, and he could like sort of deploy them in a room and just basically kind of reshape an objective or a room, right? Like he's putting up new walls. And so it sort of like changes the flow of how that plays. It's a little bit like what you kind of try to do with deployable shields, but just at a greater level.
Right.
And so he's saying that it would be slightly curved. So sort of kind of like a little bit of like a, what do they call those? The like
concave.
Yeah, I guess. I was trying to think like the pillbox bunkers, right? In like World War II, or whatever. Basically just like a little bunker, right? That like kind of has a curve to it, so you can whatever. Sorry, I'm having a very tough time describing this. He says it would be like slightly below head height, so that you could see over it, but like you could crouch behind it. And then here's where I disagree with him. He's saying it would be destroyed within 8 to 10 bullets or 2 to 3 melee hits, but it can't be vaulted. And then obviously explosion will take it out. So I think like 8 to 10 bullets, that basically means it's useless.
Right. That's less than a barricade.
Right. So if we're going to have this thing in, it's got to be like a castle, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't destroy it with bullets. You can destroy it with explosives.
Yeah.
What else?
I think that it would be a very cool idea and would create like, it's kind of like a second Echo. Like you wait too long and it's like, well, now you're in a real pickle because there's a wall right there that you can't get over.
Right.
Like, I think it'd be super interesting. It would bring a whole new strategy into the game.
Mm-hmm. I would almost say though, I think it should be above head height. Like you should be able to completely run behind it and be safe. And then maybe if it had like slits that you could shoot through, or maybe if you even had like little slits that you would open and close. You know what I mean? Like on doors, like in the movies where they like open it to ask who it is or whatever. Yeah. Like that would be kind of cool or like maybe it's just like something you could like slide up, or like, something that you could sort of control whether or not there's visibility from one side to the other.
People not ever scared of like having their eyes poked out? Like you open it, like who is it? They just like stab you in the eye.
Happens. There's got to be a movie where that happens.
I'm sure.
And then like I think it'd be kind of cool if you could vault over it. He didn't want you to be able to, but like if it was like really tall and you could vault over it, but you had to like reach up above your head, pull yourself up over, and so like that way it's not like completely shutting you off. But if you want to go over it, you're gonna really put yourself out there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And they have to make sure you wouldn't be able to stand on top of it, because then you can get into weird places that you shouldn't be able to get. But like, just you vault over it and you fall immediately down, and your gun does not come out until you hit the ground. Like you can't just vault over that and start shooting people.
I think it'd be interesting to like you could use it too as like with Frost or Legion goos. Like you can put them in certain places and force them to try to kind of go that way.
Right. The one problem I see with it is I don't think there are a lot of objective rooms that are big enough to really make it work. I guess depending on how big the gadget is, right? But I'm kind of picturing it as pretty large. So yeah, I guess it would just be hard to make it work in certain objectives or whatever. So it might not be useful everywhere. But then other things aren't useful everywhere. So I guess that's fine.
Yeah.
But good idea. I like that JSL 8. Okay, what do you got?
So my post is from MyloWilliams, or his gamer tag is the Milo you know. And his post, and we talked about this a little bit already, but probably a pretty weird opinion, but I'd really like to see maps get added that are normal places with anyone else. So yeah, so he says, I was trying to think why I loved maps like House and Plane, despite them being extremely unbalanced, and I think it's not. I think it's because I already have a tiny sense of familiarity with them. I've been on a plane many times, they're not as fancy, and House is a pretty standard looking house. So he wants basically maps that are less exotic.
So wait, he hasn't been on Air Force One?
No, doesn't seem like it. Yeah. Like less exotic map locations, like skyscrapers, freaking weird place, towers, freaking weird coastlines, weird.
Yeah.
Like villas, weird. It's like we just
Favela.
Yeah. Favela.
I mean, who builds buildings out of cardboard? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Freaking. favelas.
They should do one where you're like ant size.
That would be just
little guys
fun.
in a big world.
That'd be really fun.
That'd be really cool. They should just do house. They should seriously do house where you're like ant size. They could do like, and they could like box it off so you'd have your objective room, and that would pretty much be the whole map. So like kitchen would be like the whole map, but you're like ant size.
They'd have to add a bunch more stuff in it, but that'd be really funny.
Counter-Strike had a map like this where like you were ant size and you or like a rat size, I guess, and you'd like run around. But ant size is probably too small. Maybe like mouse size, right?
Yeah.
But like little guys in a big world, that's prime gaming right there.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Anyway, he wants to see stuff like Office Park. I didn't even read that part of his post. That's funny. Is like an office park, a 2 to 3 level map with a simple design. Think Dunder Mifflin. Bottom floor warehouse, second floor lobby, coffee shop offices, third floor covered in cubicles, break room, and smaller offices. A mall, casino, hotel, supermarket. Basically just your basic thing. Like where you don't have to play the map to be able to say, this guy's in the deli, right? Like,
right.
You just know what that is.
Yeah, because you're in a grocery store, you see a deli, and you know what it's called. You don't have to be like, console office, I think. Oh no, wait, sorry. Sorry. Admin office. Okay, he's an admin office. It's like, how am I supposed to remember what all these offices are called?
Yeah, admin office, business office, console office.
It's like, and I actually do know those ones because consulate.
Yeah.
Bay. But
what's the party room?
Oh, see, I don't know what the party room's actually. Conference room?
Maybe.
Where that objective is on bomb, where it's got like the like disco light or whatever. We just call
turned over table.
Yeah, we call it party room because it's party.
Yeah.
But I think it's actually like conference room or something.
Anyway, yes. Seeing a new map that has
easy callouts.
Yeah, just your basic building, right? Like something that you know.
Right. Because that's what's great about House, right? Is it like when you're in House and somebody's in the kitchen, he's in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And like there's no question. Like you don't have to think about it. Anybody can call that out. And that's what makes House fun on day one for new players, right? And that's why the closed beta was so successful. Because like House is just so familiar. He's in the master bedroom. Like it's easy. The first time you go in there, you can tell this is the master bedroom.
Yeah.
Like that it's cool. It's relatable. More House. Just give me like another version of House.
Yeah. Chalet is basically House, just V2.
Yeah. Chalet's problem is that it has a lot of rooms that are less identifiable, right? Like the library. Yeah. Chalet is actually pretty good. As far as that goes.
Yeah.
But I'd say Chalet is like probably right around the middle of the pack as far as maps go. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it has that similar, like, kind of where you are. It's not like, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
I agree with him completely. I would like to see a map that's just some recognizable building.
Yeah, we got to do a map ideas cast one of these days. I've got at least one or two good ones. Okay, so we ready to move on to Twitter questions?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so these people tweeted us at R6Unrenowned. Again, going forward, we're going to try to centralize our questions and basically all of our communication with the community inside of the Discord. It's just like an easier way to sort of centralize it and like keep everybody participating in the loop and all that stuff. But if you want to continue tweeting at us, we'll keep reading these. So this is great. So at Will Shikabab, the same guy who had the idea for the operator that has the spray that basically acts like castle on the floor, right?
Mm-hmm.
He tweeted us back about that same guy. So he said, okay, so I've given my operator just some more thought and took your guys' opinions into account and thought of this. So this operator still has his or her spray, but it acts as a full reinforcement and has a fuel gauge like Maverick. It can be blowtorched, thermited, and hibanaed. It can be put on floors, walls, and hatches. It can counter Maverick by plugging up his holes. Cool. A cool way to use this spray would be forcing attackers to crouch or even block an entire doorway. It would have limited fuel, so it can't cover much, but it covers enough to make it balanced. Also, it's Will Shikabab to pronounce his name. Love your guys' podcasts. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like this idea better than the first one.
Yes.
Reinforced floor panels, basically. The one thing is I think it's still situational. There's only a certain number of objectives or maps where like the floors and ceilings are really part of the game.
Right.
But he did bring up like putting it on doorways, which is pretty interesting. Like reinforcing a doorway. What do you think about that?
I like that idea.
I like it. It's almost like I want to like it more than I think that I do, because like I just wonder like how like, is that just going to break it? Where like once you kill thermite, then you just seal up doors and now like they can't get in at all anymore.
I mean, yeah, like how many can you do? Like, see, this should just be castle. Castle should just, okay. We have thermite, Hibana, and Maverick now. Like that's 3 hard breachers that you can have on your team.
Mm-hmm.
If castle's barricades all of a sudden were only breachable by hard reinforcements, hard breachers, so one of those 3, like what would that do? You know, his thing would have to extend to the floor, so you couldn't shoot their feet while thermite's putting on a charge. But I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Just to see what would happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, they talk about Thatcher's gadget being binary, right? And I think there's a lot of operators that you could make that same argument. But, like, isn't that the same with thermite? Like, when you're attacking consulate garage, is there any other option than to breach garage? And so if the other option was, well, castle sealed up the stair door, and if you want to put pressure on the stair door, thermite's going to have to open it. Like, that's kind of interesting, I think.
Yeah. And it makes thermite of a player that's more like, you cannot die.
Right.
Like, in the closed beta, we refer to this a lot, but when you were thermite in the closed beta, that was the only hard breacher. You did not die as thermite. You did not die
that
as
was the same
Twitch.
until Hibana came out.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
But
it was more of a problem in the closed beta because it was Hereford, House, and Consulate, and frequently the garage was picked as the one to attack.
Right.
And that...
Well, hard breaching on all of those maps is pretty essential, I feel like.
And so, like, because of that, thermite had to stay alive, and if thermite died at the beginning, like, that sucks. Like,
Yeah, it really sucked.
That's over. And so, like, it would make thermite more of a player that's like, you don't die, you don't get yourself killed as thermite, you be careful, stay alive, work with your team, open the freaking doors they need, and then you can go get yourself killed.
Yeah. I'm almost thinking if this operator would sort of combo with Thatcher. So like, or not Thatcher, Castle.
I was like, wait.
So like, Castle does it like Castle works, and then this operator can come and like spray reinforcement basically on Castle's barricades. Like it wouldn't work on barricades because they're too light or something, but on Castles can hold it up, and so now you can like full barricade, full reinforce like regular doors.
That would be interesting.
That would be cool. Now, obviously, that can't be his only utility because then he's bad.
Right.
But, I mean, also, if he could seal up Maverick's holes, like, that could be pretty cool. Like he's saying, right? And, like, I actually think this operator could be cool if it was done right. Like, just, like, more choice on where to put, like, reinforced type of
almost like with the professional development team that spends their job balancing operators.
Yeah, we should get one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Oh, thank you. At Zachley YT said, just wanted to say I've been liking the podcast. Keep up with the good work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, here he is again. He has another question. Quick question. I play a lot of Jackal. What's your opinion on the C7E? So Chris just got Jackal. I haven't played a lot of Jackal, so like it's hard to have a really good opinion on it. Like I think the C7E is a good assault rifle.
Yes.
From what I've used.
It is. It is very stable. It has a good rate of fire. The only problem is his other option is better.
Yeah. I mean, however, the PDW is really
very
amazing.
good. So my opinion on his assault rifles is very good.
Probably, I'd say top 60th percentile of...
I would put it with sledges.
Yeah, right around there.
Pretty dang good.
For assault rifles.
Yeah.
But the PDW is freaking amazing. It's so steady. The high rate of fire, like...
It has a very large clip.
Yeah, like so I played Jackal more over the past couple of weeks trying to like just sort of get an opinion on the C7E. And like I played it a lot and I was like, okay, well, yeah, it seems good. And I was like, well, let me give his other weapons a try just so I can have something to compare it against. And then like the first round I played the PDW, I was like, oh, I don't think I really care about the C7E anymore. Like this thing is really good.
Yeah, it's very good. So that's my only problem with it is he has another option that's better.
Yeah. So
If not, at least just as good.
yeah. So a great gun, I think. C70
Yeah,
great
I
gun.
love the gun.
But PDW maybe better.
Very good.
And then he also said, I really like the spotlight idea. I think it's pretty helpful. So cool. Thank you for your feedback on that. As a lot of you guys gave feedback on the spotlight idea. And I think it was all positive. I didn't see anybody say they didn't like it. So
yeah.
We'll keep that up. Should we do one today? Oh, we're only like an hour and a half into the second re-recorded half.
This is an hour and a half?
An existing podcast. We're getting there. Okay. At Steel Switch, again with the question. Good job, dude. How much do you want to bet Steel Switch is in our Discord already?
I can check right now. He's not.
Okay. Oh, really? Well, I guess we don't know if he has the same name. So, do you think if Mira had the ability to place a mirror on a breachable floor, would that be beneficial? I think generally speaking, I'd say it wouldn't be that great. There's probably certain spots where it could be pretty good. Like above the back stair door into the basement of house. I think that'd be a good spot for it.
Yeah.
I guess my opinion would be like, I'm not sure how beneficial it would be, but I don't see any problem with it. So like, why not? Like give players
her the ability to do it.
Yeah, I think the more you give players like rope to work with, like the more cool things they can do.
Yeah.
So I say go for it.
Yeah. I don't see why it would not be a problem in any way. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't think it would be very helpful in a lot of circumstances, but
yeah.
Sure.
I'm starting to see the problem of reading people's names from Twitter. @gay4kane says, I'm not sure what that's referencing, but cool. First off, love the podcast. Also love the in-depth operator overview idea. Thank you. Also, question for the pod. If there's going to be a new op release to counter Maverick directly, what would you guys guess his or her primary gadget to be?
So, the Maverick?
Yeah, counter Maverick directly.
Shoot him in the face.
A gun pointed at the hole he just made. I think the first thing I would say, which I think we've already kind of made clear, is that I don't really think Maverick needs, number one, a nerf, or two, like a direct counter. Like I don't think every operator needs a direct counter. Most don't have one.
Yeah.
Right? Like what's Glaz as a direct counter? There's none.
No.
I mean Clash, I guess, is like what that is becoming in a way, but like what's Thatcher's direct counter? There is none. You know, like most operators don't have a direct counter, and I don't really think it's necessary. And I don't think that's what we want Siege to become, where it's like, okay, Siege has boiled down to the pick and ban phase, and it's like, oh, well, they picked this operator, so we have to pick this operator. They picked operator C, so we have to pick operator D. You know, like that becomes very uninteresting very quickly, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, the answer to the question, what would the gadget be if there was a direct counter? I don't know. What do you think?
It would have to be somebody that could just like, I mean, kind of like our the Wilshi Kebab, something that just like reinforces the wall.
Yeah.
Like,
is it just deployable shields? You put deployable shields in front of his holes, and there you go, direct counter.
It would be something. It would have to be something like that.
What if on like Chalet Garage? This is just a great example for Maverick. I feel like Chalet Garage. What if you reinforce the thing and then you just put deployable shields right behind it? On like 2 or 3 deployable shields, and then it's like, okay, now if he's going to try to peek us, he's got to do it at head height, or like he can't do the crouch thing.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be kind of funny. Okay, last one, I think. This is at Swolzy. Again about Maverick. He says, here's his Maverick fix. In regards to the Mav issue, I have an idea for a solution. The issue is Mav was intended to be stealthy, but it worked too well, so the alternative, given by most people, is to increase torch sound even more again. The issue with increasing the sound to a very noticeable level is that now you're left with Mav making a hole that defenders can easily be able to target, leaving Mav exposed on the other side, holding a torch, unable to fire. My solution is go the opposite direction, forget the stealth, give the torch a welding arc crackling sound in conjunction with a welding arc flash of blinding light while the torch is activated. Limit the flash so that it only affects you if you're looking at that area, and it only obscures a recruit shield-sized area of flash. Win-win. Defenders know when and where the torch is being used, like a thermite charge, and Mav isn't instantly targeted and shot. So basically, Mav's thing is very bright, and if you're looking at the hole, then you get sort of blinded at that vision cone.
Right.
I don't know if that helps anybody. Because
it doesn't help Maverick.
Yeah, I think like Maverick, when he does that, you're blinded at the spot on your eye. You just shoot at that spot.
Right.
Right.
And he's just made a bunch of noise.
Yeah.
I think he's fine, honestly.
Yeah, I like him as a stealthy operator.
He just needs a visual cue. It should be bright. We've been over this. There should be some sort of visual cue that he is doing what he's doing.
Right. Not super obvious, I don't think. I think it should be like pretty subtle. But it should like,
definitely more bright than it is now. If you're looking in
that direction, you should notice.
Yes.
And like, so one thing I think it was Get Flanked that was saying this is like, his impression is that the sound of Maverick is just glitched, where sometimes it's quieter than it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I know sound works kind of strange in Siege, like they've engineered a very specific way that sound works so that it is sort of more realistic or more dependable. Right. But I think in some cases that causes kind of like unpredictable or at least unintuitive ways. And so I don't know if that's part of it, but just like Get Flanked was saying, like, I think if the sound was just consistently at the correct level, then I don't think there'd be a problem. And I'm going to defer to his judgment because I think he plays a lot more Siege than I do. And I'm going to say that's probably right.
Yeah. And I don't even know what that, because I wonder how often does that happen where really his sound is less than it should be.
Right. But I mean, I like him as stealthy. I think that's a interesting mechanic that doesn't really exist otherwise.
Right. Is he a speed 3?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure. A speed 2.
I think he's a 3 speed. Yeah, him being a 2 speed might actually be a good way to chill him out a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he has great guns. He has a pretty sick gadget, and then like 3 speed. Obviously, that's like that's just the cherry on top for any operator, right?
Yep.
Like 3 speed's freaking amazing. But anyway, okay, I think that's it for Twitter. Anything else you want to bring up on this super long, already second half?
No, just if you haven't already, leave a review on iTunes. It was a 5-star review. We have 19 now.
We don't take anything less than 5-star reviews. So if you're going to do that, just don't bother. It won't even accept it. It'll actually just throw an error and
404 not found.
Tell you where to stick it. But yeah, please do. In all seriousness, iTunes reviews are beneficial to the podcast being exposed. Also, please join the Discord. Like, we super want to like play with you guys and like just have more discussions with you guys and like be able to sort of have this be more of a two-way conversation and stuff. And you can tell us why we're wrong, because as it is right now, this is all truth because nobody's arguing with us, so it has to be right.
Right.
So, okay, find that link in the show notes. Also, I will tweet it out. And you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Let's go play some Siege.